All right. Well, no, I mean, we got people in the chat, but we're unmuted now. So we can now be heard. Well, hopefully. Did you check it?
Yeah, I checked it.
Oh, okay.
I always check it.
Yeah, that's true. All right, guys, how's it going? Looks like Jack and Travis are in the room here to start. Right time, but as I just mentioned in the chat, we are going to be doing a roundtable. And yeah, it might be a long one too.
Yeah.
A lot going on. I mean, not that Peter knows anything.
I don't know shit.
Yeah.
We're going to tell that story. We're going to tell the story, right?
I don't know what you're talking about.
When I text you
Oh, okay.
earlier
okay.
in the week about the show?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, indeed. So let's just go ahead and hit the intro real quick and just get started into the show. We'll chat about why we're obviously doing a different. I mean, it's kind of clear, but for the people on the podcast side, they may want to know why the plans changed. I think I posted on social media on Twitter that I was going to be changing it up, but yeah, people listening live may be hearing it for the first time, and people on the podcast may be wondering why they've got a third roundtable in their queue. So let's go ahead and listen to the intro. And I also realized too, like as I was editing the last episode, because I mentioned, let's listen to Frank for the intro. I've got George in there too.
You do?
I don't know why. I just I hear it all, and it all just kind of blurs together in my mind, like the whole intro, and I was like, oh yeah, I got George in here too.
Honestly, I always forget which one is which.
Oh, really?
Like which one was started recording and then we switched to who?
Yeah.
I always forget which one is
Well,
which.
I mean, now it's muddled because the first book being redone. Mm-hmm. So you got George, and then you've got Frank for 3, and then George to finish it out.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and then Steven for
Went Through the Keyhole,
which I'm actually listening to for the first time, by the way.
Are you?
I've never listened to it before.
You've read it before.
Read it, but not listened to
listened.
it. So, yeah, well, I guess let's hit the intro, and we'll get talking into it.
The Dark Tower by Stephen King. The man in black fled across the desert, and the gunslinger followed.
Go then. There are other worlds than these.
Death, but not for you, gunslinger. It's time we had our own palaver, I think, and it's going to take a while.
And yet, dauntless, the slug horn to my lips I set, and blew. Child Roland, to the Dark Tower, came.
We are quartet, one from many. The palaver begin.
Hello and welcome to Dark Tower Palaver. This is our podcast covering Stephen King's Magnum Opus, the Dark Tower series. My name is Tad.
And I'm Peter.
And we're here for Roundtable, I guess I can change the slide, number 74.
Hey, you remembered it this time all by yourself.
Yeah, well, I mean, because there was part of me that started to doubt, wait, what number are we on? And I'm like, oh, I can't see it on the screen because it's not changed yet. So, forgetting the episode, not getting it solidified in my mind helps me change the slide. I guess.
Well, it also doesn't help that we weren't supposed to do a roundtable this week.
Yeah, that's true.
So we obviously got to talk about that.
Yeah.
We're going to do it after the intros?
Yeah, let's hit the intros real quick, and then we'll talk about why we're here for number 3 for Roundtable.
Why are we here? It's a loaded question.
Yeah. Okay, so first off, I want to warn you guys about spoilers. We are going to cover, this is a roundtable, so we're going to be covering basically everything is up for grabs. So if you haven't finished the 7 primary books of the Dark Tower series, you may want to cry off and listen to our book club episodes. Well, on those episodes, we never go any further than we are in the book club itself. So you're safe on those, just insofar as you don't listen to a book club past where you're at, I guess. If that makes any sense. Next up, if you want to find us, if you're find us on YouTube or any other random way, and you want to connect with us, so you could follow along, you can subscribe to us on iTunes. You can subscribe to us on Stitcher or any of the podcast services. Search up Dark Tower Palaver, and we should come up. I think even if you search Dark Tower, we're probably one of the few that come up. Also, if you could be so kind as to subscribe, rate, and review us on any of the services, but iTunes is definitely the big one and the one that pushes like more listeners and get into like trending topics and stuff like that. More people find us. We found the more often that people rate and review the show. So if you do that, we would definitely appreciate it. The show notes are at darktowerpalaver.com. We have basically, if you're listening to us in the traditional sense where you can't see what's going on, if I'm covering like a picture or something like that and I'm showing Peter here in the studio, I will post that picture on the show notes at darktowerpalaver.com. So if you're listening and you want to know, what we're talking about, if we don't paint a clear enough picture, which I don't think that we would, you'd want to see it yourself, obviously, whatever it might be. Whether it's like a new, like the first time we saw Pennywise or, different things that we may have shown visuals.
First time seeing Idris in costume comes to mind with the movie release and everything.
Yeah, indeed. Plus also we cover articles and stuff, obviously, and a lot of times I don't necessarily cover the entire article. I may just take the portions that are pertinent to what we're talking about. For instance, like last week we did a video games or books that would make good video games.
Yeah.
And like it was a top 10 list. I only read the Dark Tower one, but it's like if you were interested in that one to figure out what are the other 9, you could always jump in the show notes, darktowerpalaver.com, find the article that I reference and read through the whole thing if you want. Last up, if you want to contact us, you can do that in a number of ways. Peter can let you know how.
Best way to reach us is email. It's darktowerpalaver@gmail.com. We also have a Facebook page. It's facebook.com/darktowerpalaver. And we are also on the Twitter. It's at Dark Tower Pod. That's at Dark Tower POD. And then, like Ted said, if you're not following along when we're doing our shows, you definitely can. It's youtube.com/Dark Tower Palaver. We record all shows live. Roundtables stay up. Book clubs do not get posted due to the copyright of the sound clips.
Yeah, indeed. So you could follow along with us live, like Peter mentioned. I guess that's the other caveat, is if you don't want to look at the show notes and you want to listen to us live, engage with us in the chat and see what's on the screen. That's basically what our YouTube channel is basically what Peter's seeing on the screen is mirrored on the YouTube channel. So you can kind of see what we're talking about or whatever. So
Travis already brought up something in the chat saying that I love how we get to hear you react to the news, talking about me. It's like hearing it twice for the first time.
Yeah, indeed.
And it was actually funny because we had a conversation about this just about, what was it, about 3-4 months ago, where we're like, oh, do we want to keep doing that? And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. We need to keep doing that.
Yeah.
It's one, it's fun for me. 2, it's fun for everyone else.
Yeah.
3, I know it's fun for you.
Oh, yeah.
Because you get to do shit like you did to me this week.
Yeah, I mean, so I just as a behind the scenes, so I text. Well, Peter, actually, you text me in advance, but it was actually the same day that I was going to text you and let you know that we weren't doing a book club, and that we were going to be doing a roundtable, just so that you didn't do the reading. Although I thought about it later, I should have just let you do all the reading, and then sprung it on you once you showed up, because wouldn't that be awesome? Not that it would be bad to have to read the Dark Tower, but it'd be funny. You come with all your notes and your book, and you're all like studious and stuff, and I'm like, change of plans.
Hashtag Ted is terrible. That's one of the fastest ones we've ever gotten, but damn, you're evil.
Yeah, so you text me.
Oh,
and just
Wednesday?
Just to ask,
Tuesday, Wednesday,
something like that,
there?
yeah. And just to ask, like, hey, book club, right? And I'm like, actually.
I was going to text you tonight.
Yeah, and I told him, I'm like, actually, we're going to have to be changing it to a roundtable. There's been some things happening in the news, and it's kind of one of those things. Yeah, we just want to do it. And it was actually, I was just telling you before we started recording, that basically this all started basically Monday after we recorded. So the people listening to the podcast in the traditional sense hadn't even got the episode yet, because we usually post it Tuesday, Wednesday night, somewhere in there. And or Tuesday night, I think it is. So Wednesday morning you have it. Generally speaking, if you're in the United States, obviously overseas, you got different times and dates and stuff.
Yeah.
But so before that was had even been done. So some people hadn't even heard the last episode when some news started breaking, and I was just like, damn it, they're just like the fucking movie people. They wait until we record, and then they drop some news.
Yeah. Literally what happened with the movie was we recorded on a Saturday, or was it a Friday back then? And then literally Monday or Tuesday something happened, and Tad's like, "Dude, we got to record an episode like as soon as
Wasn't
possible."
it? Yeah, I want to say it was like
I think it was the photos from set.
No, I want to say it was even like when didn't we do a special one for the castings for Idris and Matthew McConaughey?
It might have been that.
And I want to say that was one of those ones that came like literally it came days after we had just recorded. So I was just like, oh, come on, But yeah, it looks like the TV folks are doing just as good a job at throwing the kibosh at our plans. So yeah, we're here for a round table number 74, 101 for podcast number.
Yep.
For our episode. So yeah, let's jump right into it. There's a lot, and I was telling Peter before we started recording, like it started the Monday after we recorded, so that's only a couple days after, and it pretty much hasn't stopped. It's been like a consistent trickle of news of different kinds. And yeah, it's just like, wow, there's a lot. And I even texted you last night. I'm like, do you got anything planned like after the show?
Like we normally finish?
Because
and I'm like, no.
Yeah, because if you do, we might have to do it early because, yeah, this might be a long episode. Because I want to say even yesterday something broke where I was just like, so, are you fucking kidding me? Come on.
So, of course, I get the text. I text Tad because I'm like, I got to make sure that it's a book club because I have done that before, by the way. I've done the reading, and then I remembered that it's a round table, and I'm like, well, fuck. Because the problem is like, I remember the Dark Tower, but I don't remember the specifics, like how, if you've listened to a round table episode.
Gritty details.
A book club episode. You know that I go way further than I do in just the overview, like I do in the round tables. So for me, I read it, I take notes, and then I read it again, like the day of recording, just to make sure that I'm like, okay. Because I don't take full notes. I just take like little like the start of the line. I'm like, okay, I'm going to remember that at the start of the line, I want to talk about, man, Eddie's being a dick right here. Something like that.
Yeah.
Or I think that this passage is really cool, and I just write down the first like 3 words.
Where it's like, oh yeah, here Flag's really a heroic character. I know you get that note quite a bit.
Said no one ever.
Oh, and I was mentioning before we started recording into the podcast too, so people in the live chat kind of heard the beginning of this conversation, but I'm listening to Went Through the Keyhole for the first time. I've read it, but I've never actually done the audio book. And yeah, man, I'm not. Here's the thing with Stephen King. He's not a bad narrator in that, like, it's not like Gilbert Gottfried doing an audio book, right?
Gilbert Gottfried doing fucking 50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah, it's nothing like that.
God in heaven.
It's nothing like that. But I think when it comes down to, and I was thinking about it today, I was just thinking, because like I am having a little bit of a harder time listening to it, and I'm just like, it's not that King's bad. I think some people brought it up before. They like King's stuff, which I'm not as a narrator. And I have nothing against it necessarily. I think what it comes down to is I'm so used to, even George does less when it comes to like voices is like Frank. Like I feel like Frank's are so defined that you could just re-edit the book and have it like a play to where it doesn't even say "and Roland said." You would know by his voice who's talking with Frank.
Absolutely.
George, he does have voices, but there is some times where you're like, okay, I'm glad he said who he was talking as there, because I could hear he's doing a voice, but some of it, they aren't as distinct as Frank's.
For sure.
With King, it's just King. He doesn't do anything to differentiate.
He doesn't even try.
So he's just reading as though his kids grew up listening to him read stories to them. And I think that's what kind of makes it harder for me, is just like,
you've been spoiled by Frank so bad.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, if you watch like, nothing but pro sports, and then suddenly, like you start going to like high school games, like,
oh, it's gonna hurt.
There's a very big difference, and of course, King is like, in terms of a writer, he's untouchable, but as a reader, he just doesn't have, like, he's not like these other guys doing these, because a lot of these guys that do the audiobooks, or gals, I guess, there's got like Kathy Bates, for instance, does some audiobooks, and the captain from Voyager did Nosferatu, for instance. Like there's some ladies as well, but like the people that do them, generally speaking, are like actors, right?
What's her name? Carrie, the original Carrie, Sissy Spacek, Red Carrie.
Yeah. So there's like a just an element of like, they're professional. They're like actors. They're people that like they've studied acting. In terms of vocals and different things, like versus like an author. Like, the only time I've personally found that I really adore an author reading is if it's an autobiography.
Oh, okay.
Like if it's someone telling their story, then great. Yeah, like let's let them read it. But so for me, the King thing is just, it's a little bit tough. Like, and then like also I found it funny too, the way that this lines up is that you're going to get George, Frank, King, and then George. So it's like right after you finish book 4, you kind of get into the spot where now you're gonna, if you're going in chronologically, which generally I don't actually. Generally I leave book 4.5 till the end. I go publication order.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just decided with this one I do it chronologically. I was like, man, this makes for a rough thing, because even if you just go Frank to George, it's always tough because you're changing, and it's always tough to like get used to the guy for a bit. It usually takes me about 20, 30 minutes of the audio time to like get used to the new guy. And then this one now with King, it's like, so now you're gonna go Frank, King, George, and it's just like, wow, that's a Rick.
Well, even from like start to finish, it's George, Frank, right? And then King, George.
Yeah.
That's rough to do that.
Yeah, so when you go 4.5 and 5, like you're just gonna have like this roller coaster of like, oh man, there's like a lot of change here. And then King, obviously, again, not doing voices kind of makes it a little bit tougher. But yeah, I just wanted to mention that because I am in the middle of listening to that for first time.
Yeah.
And you know what, even reading it wise, I don't think the last couple cycles I've done, I've included that. I think for different reasons. So it's actually been a little while since I've gone through this, so it's been a lot of fun.
It always feels a little bit different to do Wind Through the Keyhole than it does the other 7 books. So I get that.
Yeah.
So I texted you and I asked you if it was a book club, and you're like, you psychic bitch. I was going to text you tonight to tell you that we have to do a roundtable. And so that was like Tuesday or Wednesday. So I got a few days before the actual episode, right? And then you texted me last night about, you okay if we go a little bit long? And I'm like, all right. Yeah, I don't have anything going on. You're like, yeah, there's just a lot to cover. News has been coming in since like that's when you told me. News has been coming in so like the Monday after we record, and it hasn't stopped. And I'm just like, the motherfucker just did that on purpose. He told me that on purpose because now that's all I'm going to be thinking about for the next 24 hours. That son of a bitch did that on purpose. So all of last night, I'm on a double date with my wife and my sister and my brother-in-law. All night last night, I'm just sitting there going, the fuck is the news? Like, there's no way we got a trailer already. There's no way we got that. Do we got some more casting confirmations? Do we got more pictures?
Well, that's
do we got some other things that are being? I swear you do this shit on purpose to me.
I didn't, but I wish that I had.
You're such a monster.
All right, well, that's a great segue. We'll jump right into. I mean, not me being a monster, but
no, you are a monster.
You talking about the news. So we'll go ahead and jump into this episode 2. I want to just mention for structuring. There's a little bit of taking things out of order. Generally, I do things in order. With this one, there's some stuff I moved around just to kind of whatever. Hopefully, I think this will flow well. I mostly bunched like a lot of stuff that's like series related together, and then there's other stuff to talk about too. So let's jump into it then. So the first one, it is titled "The Dark Tower," filming in Croatia. There's no credit given, but it is from the actor's official website. And as you can tell here, I don't have anything else on the slide because this is the reveal. So this is the one that was announced the Monday after we recorded last. And I have to say, for me, just to hype it up a little bit more, this might be one of my favorite castings, and like just in terms of excitement.
Okay.
So it is Michael Rooker.
No shit. Are you fucking kidding me?
Michael Rooker. Let me pull up the notes here and go ahead and read. I'll just read straight from what he has on his website here. And I don't know that he runs it personally or anything, but it's his official website. It says Michael Rooker has been cast in the Amazon Studios adaptation of Stephen King's The Dark Tower, currently filming the pilot episode on location in Croatia. Rooker's role in the series pilot is still being kept under wraps, but there is no lack of information and speculation around the much anticipated series. Variety previously reported that Sam Strike will play Roland Deschain, a.k.a. the Gunslinger, while Jasper Plakonen, believed to be playing the Man in Black, known as Randall Flagg. The series, and then here's the thing that I will say, because we've been hearing this, but I feel like hearing it from him, this feels more official. Like, not that we have a green light yet, but that this is the plan if we do get it. And because this is coming from an official source, unlike some of the last other things we've heard.
Yeah.
The series will consist of a total of 13 episodes. So like that, for instance. That coming from him means way more than some of the like publications
we've heard that it's 13 episodes and stuff like that.
So coming from him, I'd say that, okay, if they get the green light, there will be a dozen more episodes as part of season 1. It's developed by Glenn Mazzara, in parentheses, The Walking Dead, Akiva Goldsman, Titans, and Star Trek Discovery, and writer Stephen King. The Dark Tower tells the story of Roland, how he became a gunslinger in his first encounter with the villainous Man in Black. The Dark Tower is scheduled for release in 2020, which is another thing that's been kind of I think assumed, but I don't think that
Yeah.
I've ever heard anything yet that made me feel confident saying that yes, 2020 is when if they get the green light, when it'll come out.
Right.
So, yeah, that's I mean, I don't know what do you think? Just initial thoughts.
Holy shit!
Because I don't know about you, I'm just a huge fan of him. I have
Yeah.
been for a long time. He was actually one of he's probably my absolute favorite character in The Walking Dead. Like
Yeah.
I don't even know if there's another character that I was even that as much into as him.
Yeah.
I just enjoyed him a lot. There's some older stuff too, but then obviously like Yondu was one of my favorite characters in Guardians of the Galaxy as well. I mean, he got a little soft in the second movie. I liked him more in the first movie, but
He was always a big softy.
yeah, he's like the Green Power Ranger as a kid. I always loved him. Then he went all soft on me. I'm like, come on. So then of course the next question would then become,
Who?
so speculate.
Jonas. He would make one hell of a Jonas.
What is there any reason? Just his star power or
Star power plus I could see him being the like cold manipulating, planning, scheming kind of guy. And I also think that he would actually be a really good one to do because Jonas is supposed to have that. How do they describe it?
raspy voice?
Not raspy, but like wiry voice. Oh, you talk like
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, which
And
he has a very
He's very good at doing stuff like that.
well. No, his voice naturally is
naturally,
very,
is that naturally? I always thought it was like a persona. that he
no.
does that
Think
for.
about him in Tombstone. He has the same voice then.
That's true. Yeah. Okay.
That's
No,
just-
you got a point there. So yeah,
And I pointed that out on Twitter. I'm like, because of the voice alone, I think Jonas.
it's
but
got to
like,
be Jonas.
but like also just like the star power, because like that's Jonas is gonna be one of the biggest roles in the series. Let's be honest,
Yeah.
right? Like the Man in Black, unless they do some serious changing, is not going to be as big. Of course, for this one. Now, if we get into the second season and we get into some different stuff, obviously different.
Cody nailed it. It's wavery. That's what it is.
Yeah.
That's what his voice is, wavery, and I think that's exactly how they describe it in the book is wavery. You're right, Cody.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I think I'm with you on that. Now,
Jack says in the chat, "Court with a mind control arrow?" Question mark. Shit.
I mean, I could see him do a chord as well, but I think
yeah.
the Jonas to me is just like perfection.
Oh, it's perfection.
Like it just
yeah.
to me it fits like a glove. That's why I wanted you
Oh
to.
yeah. As soon as you pulled up the picture, I'm like, motherfucker, we got our Jonas. like that's instantly what I thought of.
So, well, the next thing I have here is just a tag, like a attachment to this. It's not even like it's a different article, but it's the same news. Dark Tower, Michael Rooker co-stars in Amazon pilot, and this is from Nelly Andreeva from Deadline, also on June 11th, 2019. This is about the same time that this was posted on Rooker's website. And it says Plakonin is believed to be playing Martin, the character Roland is out to kill. I hear Rooker also plays a main villain, and it might be Eldred Jonas from the books, a failed gunslinger.
Yeah.
I think if they're calling him another lead villain, like there's nobody else.
There's not.
Like
The only one that could come anywhere near the Man in Black and Jonas would possibly be Latigo, the sergeant of Flags.
but he doesn't show up till a little bit later.
Not later in the book, but if you're
Yeah.
going to be a main villain, maybe Kimba Reimer.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe.
Or I mean, Rhea. I mean, not that he would play Rhea, but Rhea would
No,
probably be
yeah.
another one that'd be like one you could maybe call like a main. But she disappears for a good portion of the book too.
Yeah, she's just there staring at a ball. Though, for 90% of the series.
Yeah,
so.
you get her early on, and then obviously at the end. But like there for the middle, like you don't really get a whole lot.
All
from
you do
her,
is get
so.
like a glimpse of her staring at the ball, literally. So
Yeah, indeed. So yeah, that's a big one. Like I said, that was like the Monday after we
huge.
recorded. And also like when you think about the cast overall, like I don't know, that's a big one. Like coming off the Marvel series, in a fairly popular role too. I just feel like it's one that brings more star power. Not that we are lacking for it. I feel they've been giving us a lot of good people so far. But there is a lot of unknowns, a lot of new people, a lot of up and comers that have been cast in this. So it's good to get like someone heavy, a little bit heavier, like Michael Rooker in terms of like. Again, coming off Marvel, he was in The Walking Dead early on. I feel like those things kind of make him kind of a, I don't know. Not that necessarily I've ever seen him do a lead in anything, so I don't know if you'd call him an A-lister, but if not, he's pretty damn close to that level in my opinion.
he's definitely a great supporting cast member.
Yeah.
He's fantastic. I mean, think about you've said 4 things for him so far: Guardians of the Galaxy, Tombstone, Walking Dead, and then what was the other?
He
one
did
that said?
Slither.
He did Slither
with James Gunn. James Gunn like uses him and everything.
Okay.
There's even rumors that he's being talked to for the next Suicide Squad
Oh, really?
with James Gunn again.
Oh, right.
Just-
I forgot about that.
Yeah, it's just kind of like the old De Niro and Scorsese thing. I think that he uses Roker quite a bit in his work. So, which that's not a bad way to go.
You know, that's an interesting question, Cody. Is what if he's the good man? You know, we don't get any.
We don't see him in the book
with
though.
Farson. No,
So
that would be
unless he's
that would
Flag.
be something that would definitely be something outside of norm for us to think about. But that is a good point. I mean, but I think honestly the fit for Jonas is just too damn perfect.
Yeah. I think like there's some others I've toyed with. Like I said, like maybe Court. I don't know. I definitely. I mean, it's hard. It's hard to get past Jonas for me.
Well, especially with that thing from Deadline where it says a main villain.
Yeah.
Main villain. If you look at the three main villains, if I had to say the three main villains of Wizard and Glass, it's Jonas is number one. Kimba and Latigo, I think, would be 2 and 3. If you don't count the other Coffin Hunters. I mean, you got Roy and I always forget the other one's name.
Roy DePape and now that you ask me, I'm fucking blanking. And now
But the two,
I've
but the
transitioned into the other
henchmen.
book now.
Yeah, the henchmen. You know, Roy and the other one.
Yeah, I don't know. Fucking,
help us out, guys.
oh, dude, you like? Don't you hate that one? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I've just finished listening to that book, so I should have it fresh in my mind. But jumping into the other book is like
Reynolds.
not helped. Yeah, Clay Reynolds.
Clay Reynolds.
Yeah. Yeah, that's. I hate when that happens.
Yeah. So Clay and Roy. I mean, aside from those three, the big Coffin Hunters, the only real bad guys in Magus for majority of the series would be Kimba and Rhea, because the mayor's a douche, but he's not a bad guy.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think that he's honestly
self-serving. Like,
okay.
you know, like
Clarify for me.
Like okay, for instance, he may be like kind of turning a blind eye to like helping Farson.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's like in the middle of it all to where like, you know, he's wanting to do this for Farson. He's kind of just like turning his back to allow the people below him to do it, as long as he gets his cut type thing.
Which is
so
I think that's the thing for him is that would make him kind of like a weasel. Is like, yes, you're still going to get your thing. You're going to get your gilly. You're going to get your girl, and you're going to get your money. But for him, it's not like he went out and sought it. It's they found a weak man to give it to, basically.
Yeah, indeed. But yeah, I think that's definitely where I'm leaning is Jonas. But yeah, that's definitely a good one. So next up, we've got so let's move on to the next one. Here is actually one that came up on Instagram and also Twitter, linking to the Instagram. Now this one I want to say this actor is not very well known, and he posted this himself, and then actually ended up deleting it and then bringing it back days later. So I'm thinking that he wasn't given permission. And then like they realized like the cat's out of the bag at that point, so they just let him post it again. But he posted. His name is Emir Muller. I don't know how you'd pronounce it. But he was. I mean, the picture on this picture here is him with Glenn Mazzara. So that's him. He's in his costume here. You can kind of see some stuff in the background there. What are you thinking just from what you see here?
I'm seeing like the especially like the patio thing over there with the lights on it and everything like that. It really makes me think of like the introductory festival dance thing where the boys introduce themselves.
Yeah. What do you think of his costume? I mean, I have another one to show in just a second that's gives you a little bit more, but what do you think of it overall? You also got a guy in the background too with kind of a hat.
It's
interesting.
It's not what I would have expected from ranchers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I expected a little bit more like flatter and wider brims, kind of thing. But
yeah, in this one, I believe I can't see it from here, and I didn't take it down. But in one of his two posts, one of the hashtags he used was "Big Coffin Hunter."
Really?
So obviously, this gentleman would be a different interpretation of one of the other two Coffin Hunters. Because, like to me, I'm sorry, like Roker is in my mind, he's Jonas until I hear otherwise. So this is obviously a different take on what we would get. I mean, I think he looks maybe a tiny bit older than I pictured.
I
the
didn't
other
see
two.
the ponytail.
Yeah, so he's definitely got like a native look.
Oh, okay.
And he's a German actor. But let's go to the other picture because this one really jazzed me a lot more.
Damn.
Yeah, so here you got he's smoking. You can kind of see his hair a little bit more here. But the thing that I tweeted this, and a lot of people seem to like it too, is the gun to me.
Looks like a piece of shit.
Yeah, so it has no grip. If you look closer, you can't really. It's hard to see on the TV, but when you're really looking at it, the trigger guard is mostly gone.
It's busted, yeah.
So, what better way to allow the difference between Roland's guns and guns of like basically Harriers than to have the guy's guns look like this? Right.
Also, no holster. It's just stuck in his belt.
Yeah.
You know, Roland's always going to have a holster and everything like that.
Yeah.
Take care of, like his birthright, basically.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. I mean, I wouldn't say birthright because he does have to earn it by, passing the trial and everything like that.
Yeah.
But that definitely does not scream royalty when you look at that gun, like Roland's does.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it's a really cool way to like in a reverse kind of way, almost even bring more specialty to Roland's guns by making every other gun we see, which I don't know, we only see one here, but wouldn't it be kind of cool if the coffin hunters and anyone else that might have guns all look like shit? I mean, I think to myself toward the end, because I was just there in the book, when you get like all the people that were arming up to take out the boys, all their guns are just like, I mean, the one guy had the repeating rifle, like the machine gun,
and they weren't even sure if it was going to work or not.
But the rest of the people just have things that are like, man, that belongs more on a wall than in someone's hands.
And a couple of people even brought like bars, like from like what we hear about in Wolves of the Kala later on.
Yeah,
like just basically what I picture, kind of just like Stephen King's version of a crossbow.
Yeah.
That kind of thing, because it shoots bolts. It doesn't even shoot bullets.
Yeah, indeed. So what do you think? I mean, the thing is for me is like I'm perfectly open to like anything, because like for me, and I mentioned this on Twitter, the other two big coffin hunters, not Jonas, but the other two,
Roy and Clay,
were always shadows to me. I never got a picture in my mind of them. So like.
One of them is very vivid in my head. He has red hair and glasses.
Okay.
So the other one, no, I have no description of him.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that King doesn't give it. It's just like that for me.
Oh shit!
For me, I just don't like. It doesn't. Does that ever happen to you? Because for me, when I'm reading, there's times I'm just like,
Father Callahan is a complete fucking blank in my head.
Oh really?
Always has been. Generic priest? No. I don't think of anyone from The Exorcist. I don't think of anyone from Salem's Lot or any of the TV shows or anything like that. He seriously is just a generic fucking old man.
Oh, okay.
Not an actor, not anyone that I ever picture. Seriously, it's just man, white hair. That's it.
Yeah.
Not even one of the pictures from like the books or anything like that.
Yeah.
Whatever reason, complete blank for me.
Yeah, I have a lot of characters like that. It's not that I like don't put a lot into them. It's just that like for me, like they're less important than certain characters, and maybe I just have less of a picture of them. And the other two coffin hunters have been that way. So like honestly, I don't mind if they were to change it up, because like both of them I think are white, right? Like not that
I don't think they've ever said. The only thing I remember about
maybe
looks
the comic
of one
books
of them,
maybe have pictures of them.
The only one I remember is, I think it's Roy, because that's the one that gets him into the shit at the Traveler's Rest. Jonas tells him to take his glasses off.
Yeah,
and then there's that one passage where they say, the one with the red hair or the other one.
Yeah.
That's something like that.
Yeah.
And Roy, if I remember right, Roy's the one with red hair and glasses.
Okay.
So that one, but dude, you know what I was just saying, what I freaked out about just a second ago, I remember how the night before, the boys get framed for murder, right?
Yeah.
The mayor's, Kimba, and someone else, or just those two?
No, just the two.
Because the Rook's skull is left for one.
Yeah.
And then the other one doesn't really leave any other
Avery
evidence.
gets killed by Susan. Like when you're looking at like the big ones,
no,
right?
I know.
The
the frame murders.
I'm just saying when you start looking at the big members of Magus, like the two get killed that night. Susan kills Avery, at a different point.
What I'm saying is when he goes to kill Kimba, whichever one it is that kills Kimba, he has a personal grudge against Kimba
for the cloak.
For the cloak.
Yeah.
And so that's what I was just wondering is like, I don't see a cloak, I see a duster. So
yeah. Now,
I'm wondering,
do you picture him having a cloak when he's on the trail?
Well, here's what I wonder.
Right?
I wonder if they're going to switch it up to the dumb hat.
Yeah, I mean, it could. Although with the other picture, though, going back, the guy behind him's hat seems just as silly in a way.
All I thought about with the red is the Mad Hatter.
Yeah.
That's what I thought of when I saw that.
So yeah, I don't know. I can't necessarily picture it, but again, I don't necessarily know that I pictured Mr. Cloak wearing it when he was on like horseback going to Sitgo and stuff like that. I feel like that was
Sure.
more like when he's in town and stuff, right? Like
Right.
I think again, Tombstone. Like there's a difference
Okay.
between when Wyatt's walking around town and when he's like on the Vendetta ride at the end. You know, like there's
Sure.
a different clothing and stuff. So, let's see in the chat here. Agmorphy says looks Coffin Hunter-ish to me. Indeed, yeah, I think that and like everything, like it just looks so like hodgepodgey. I mean, you got like two different. You got like a leather strap on his waist, but you also have like a like metallic leather belt as well, like with stud like metal studs in the belt that's below the leather thing. He's got a chain around his neck. He's got like the weird like the fingerless gloves. Like it just feels to me like this is what a big coffin hunter would look like in my mind. Like
For sure.
if I started to like piece it together, this definitely
Agamorphy said it earlier in the chat. Definitely looks Coffer Hunter-ish to me.
yeah. And this one you actually in the one earlier you could actually see a necklace, a pendant of some kind there.
Yeah.
Of course, with the gloves, you can't see his hand to see any tattooing. But yeah, no, that's and there's a little bit in the background here. It's really tough to see though. I could see like a little bit, not much. He fills the frame here fairly well. So yeah, he did repost this stuff on social media, but it was taken down. So I'm guessing that he wasn't maybe okayed to post this stuff. But that's I don't know. What do you think overall?
I think it looks great.
Costume wise too, because like a lot of people are like kind of making their decisions on some of these pictures. Like, what do you think of the costuming? What do you think of the actor looks like? Not just like the guy, but like overall, like what you're seeing so far.
I'm all for everything except the hat. I just don't like the hat. The hats seem kind of silly. But if it's like a party hat, maybe. But the big coffin hunters, except for Jonas, weren't there at the party. They were out at Sitgo covering. So
yeah,
Roy and Clay were out there because that's what leads to the confrontation of the Traveler's Rest.
Yeah,
I think it's Roy is in a pissy mood.
Yeah.
So
yeah, indeed.
For me, that's the only part of it I don't like. I love everything else about this. I do.
Yeah, indeed. Let's see in the chat.
Especially the
Cody.
gun.
Cody says a gunslinger would have metal plates added under the grips to match his personal balance. Failed gunslingers might not be able to have them. Yeah, that's totally true too. But like for me, like not having even just the grip, like that is so like just low rent to me. Like I just feel like this is like something this dude. The chances are, in my mind, looking at that gun wasn't even put together that way. That's something that he cobbled together. You know,
it always reminds me of like a video game where you like take the grip from this gun and the barrel from this gun and the chamber from this gun, and you make a working gun out of the working pieces.
And he just never got like the whether there be wood or whatever grips, to actually because that would be a pain to shoot. Not having the grips there would be annoying. So that's definitely interesting. Let's see, and then Agamor says Father Callahan to me is like Anthony Hopkins. Now, to me, I can't remember with Father Callahan because I feel like there's been times like I try to think of him like not like modern Clint Eastwood that's like that old, but like maybe more like Gran Torino, which is 13 years ago now.
Jeez.
Maybe that ish era of like because I think I've always kind of had it like a little bit of a Clint Eastwood-ish look. But yeah, that even that doesn't feel totally right to me.
Sure.
I mean, I'm about to get into it with the next book, so maybe if it clicks where it's like the right actor, I'll bring it up in the show.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I find that interesting though that and nothing wrong with it. I just find it interesting, like because it's for me it's kind of random. Like it's weird because like Brown, I feel like I kind of have a picture of Brown with Zoltan. But like, so
really?
it's not even like an importance of characters. It's not like the character has to be like more important for me to get a picture. Just for me, I think a lot of times it just comes down to as I'm reading, like I get a picture or I don't, and like the Coffin Hunters just never did, except for Jonas. And then Agamorphy says, not a silly hat. I'd say more rustic. Yeah, and I think that's the thing is like, I'm wondering like again, there's still part of me we haven't seen a ton. I wonder like what they're going to do to differentiate it so it doesn't just look like an Old West thing. Like what are you going to do to make it look like it's different? Like because it's an Old West, but it's Old West after a post-apocalyptic. So like you're going to have like obviously we're going to need to see technology stuff, but I just wonder looks wise what are they going to do to kind of not just look like you're doing like Tombstone or whatever, right? But yeah. And then Cody says, I see Callahan as John Mahoney. So yeah, that's it's cool. I think it's always fun to hear what people have in their minds. It's always tough to like. That's the toughest part with the movie is that you're kind of undercutting a lot of what people have in their minds. But yeah, that's something else. And this next one here is now these two. I'm kind of doing costumes and I'm giving their names. But I will say that like they're in the show obviously. But these aren't even like casting announcements as much because they're just like posting their shit online. So it's like, okay, yeah, all right. So the next one here is Eleonora Ozeka, and she has a costume. And this picture here is actually showing, looks like what maybe the costuming department's like tag and picture of her costume with her kind of in the background. So it's kind of a funny picture because you're kind of seeing like both images there. I believe we've seen her before in some of the early pictures. The other thing that to look at on the left is she also uses Big Coffin Hunters as a hashtag. So the question I thought of when this came up, not that like she couldn't be a Big Coffin Hunter because that would be kind of like cool to like completely change it up, but what about, do the Coffin Hunters have to be 3? What if they made them a bigger group?
Possible,
you know, and it's not that they have to have like, you know, the 2 just as they are in the book. So they need to have more just to have these different characters. Like if they want to change it up and just make it the 3 and you got Roker, her, and Emir from the pictures before, that's fine by me. But it just made me wonder, like, it was just a thought I'd never had before. What if they changed it up and it was like a group of 6 people, you know?
Sure.
Like in the books, it's like it feels balanced because it's like the 3 Gilead boys versus the 3 Coffin Hunters. But it's like for a show, maybe it'd be worth, you know, having more because you could also even have like maybe more tension because you have more of them, and you might even have it to where like some of them get offed earlier as as the tension's building, right? It doesn't all have to be till the very end like it is in the books. I don't know. It was just a thought that it entered my mind. But yeah, I do believe we've seen her before. I believe we saw her walking like on a path towards the camera on one of those early pictures of that we saw.
The hair. Yeah. The hair sticks out to me.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I don't know if we're really even seeing anything new here. I guess we have her name and the fact that she's putting it out. So I guess we're getting a name to that picture that we saw before. So what do you think overall? I mean, we talked about this a little bit before her. Anyway,
I don't mind if she's a coffin hunter. Like I think it would be really interesting to change it up and have, you know, just 6 guys. You know, you have maybe 2 guys and a girl for the coffin hunters would be interesting. Or like you said, if it expands, that'd be cool too.
Yeah.
Interesting. I don't know. Like I can't really. I'm studying like the costume, and I can't really see much detail on it, like we did with the last photos.
Yeah.
So I'm curious about it. Like if we got a shot with more detail on it.
No, this is it for her. Let's see. Agmorby says Rhea. No, I think she looks a little bit too human for Rhea.
Yeah, a little bit too young.
Cody says Eileen Ritter is supposed to be in it. If I'd like to see how she's incorporated. Yeah, that's true. We've heard in one of the early press releases they included her, right?
Yeah.
And she's from the comics, not in the books. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see. But again, we haven't really heard a whole lot about like casting for like the. Especially for her, I haven't really heard her reference since that original thing. So with this one, Big Coffin hashtag, and I'm just reading my notes here, and then we've seen her before. So next up, and this one is where we start to get into like, I'm starting to think that around June 15th is when the thing wrapped because we started to see some things that were posted, and this next one is one of them. And this is from Instagram called The Kick Pack, and it says on the thing there, it says this morning we're finishing the work on the Dark Tower. Thanks to the supporting team, and see you next season. And then it has some hashtags there, and I clicked on it to see what they were. The Kick Pack, and here's what it outlines for them on their profile. It says the Kick Pack bringing expertise in acrobatics, are acrobatics, dance, drama, clowning, and music from the studio. It is the, quote, physical theater or, quote, contemporary circus. So, which follows with some of the casting calls that we saw early on. They were talking about, like, basically, like, I can't remember what it was.
Circus. They asked for small people, midgets, right?
Yeah, but there was
Dwarves,
also, like,
I think.
there was also something like, it wasn't like acrobatics. Was it acrobats?
Yeah, acrobats and dancers.
Yeah, there was like a number of things they asked for, so it makes me think that, this is just a studio that was picked up.
Probably something to go along with like the welcoming dance and festival.
Or it could be Gilead too.
Very well could be Gilead.
And trying to, I don't know, you can't really see a whole lot. He's covered himself in a blanket. He's got a dark costume. He's definitely got like the Zorro thing going. So I don't know if if he's gonna be wearing a mask. So he has the black around the eyes like you would like Batman or Michael Myers or something. You can't really see a whole lot. You can see some equipment in the background and like almost the edges of some scenery, but not enough to actually make anything out.
Sure.
But it's interesting, and there's some stuff that that it makes me think that the 15th was when they wrapped.
Yeah.
At least
their portion of it. Yeah.
So what?
Just we said that in unison.
Oh. Okay, so next up, I'm actually going to give an alert, I guess, in a way. Just a caveat before going any further. Okay. So the rest of it is IMDb listings that got added.
Okay.
The only caveat I give, and I've been giving this online, if you follow on Twitter, you've heard me say it a million times, the only thing with IMDb, take it with a grain of salt because anyone can edit IMDb. I can go on there now and put Chris Evans in the Dark Tower as a fan edit, and chances are it'll show up there until someone, maybe from the official thing, like zaps it off, if that even happens. It's just so just know that like this stuff isn't guaranteed. Some of this stuff I have some hope that it might be legit because like it's not like, oh, Gary Oldman, or it's not like, it's ones I'd be surprised to see people, whether they're unknowns or whether they're up and comers or whether they're just not. I don't know. Like, I feel like there's certain ones you'd see more with like false stuff just because they were like more popular, or they have more of a following or whatever. That isn't necessarily the case with these. So let's go ahead and get into the ones on IMDb here. The first one is actually one that was actually posted a good while ago, and I just ignored it because I don't know the actor and I don't know the role. So this is Abraham Paplua, and he is credited as MacReady. So I don't know MacReady in the books.
No, there's no MacReady.
So
not that I remember.
I don't know if this is going to be like, maybe they gave a different what's Hax's last name? I don't know if this is going to be Hax or if this is going to be, I don't know. But he's been on here for a good while. I've just kind of ignored it because like whatever. But now as things are pouring in, IMDb wise, I figured I would list him now for the first time on our show, even though he's been on there for a while. So next up is Mr. Daniel Fathers was added to the cast. Mm-hmm. And what do you think of him? Like, I guess, like if you were to guess,
one of the fathers, one of the gunslingers, maybe.
Okay.
Also, I wouldn't be surprised if that's Court.
Okay. Well, what he's listed on IMDb is Abel Van A, which shocks me because I was saying on the show sometime back I wondered if Van A would not make the show. Just because it's one of those things you might just merge them together into Court and just have just the one teacher role. But no, he is being listed as Van A. Oh. And the other thing that's interesting with him is we've seen him before. Does that picture look familiar?
Oh, shit, really?
So, I don't know. I mean, it's definitely interesting. I could definitely see that Van A would probably dress gunslinger-ish. But I guess for some reason I always just pictured him in like cloaks and
I pictured him in a robe.
Yeah, like robe.
Like almost like
a wizard.
Like a exactly, like a Jedi, a Gandalf type character.
Just because he's like what, potions and magic and like the hypnotism, right? Well,
he's
like he taught them the hypnotism.
Yeah, the bullet trick, right?
Yeah.
He taught that from them. He also taught him like the school lessons, like arithmetic and history and stuff like that. So
yeah,
that's also happened with him. So I mean, like,
it
actually makes perfect sense that he wears gunslinger attire.
Exactly.
Like, Jesus Christ.
Because I think I've always pictured that like Court is like pretty much a gunslinger, even though he might just go with like the pants and no shirt or whatever. But I feel like if Court was like going out, he would be looking like a gunslinger. Like if he was going when he goes to town for his hookers. I feel like I've always pictured him as a gunslinger. So I don't know. Maybe it's unfair, but I've never pictured Van Hayes.
I've always pictured him as kind of like the guys in Game of Thrones that have the chains.
Yeah, like the maesters.
The maesters, yeah. Like I picture stuff like that, or monks, you know.
Although I guess that would be infringing on Flag's territory, right? If he was wearing robes and wizardish stuff. So you know that this makes total sense.
It also makes sense that you change it up to if there's only one person who wears a cloak, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, cloak, bad guy. You know.
So. I remember thinking that when I watched Star Wars, like Obi-Wan, he's a bad guy, he's wearing a cloak. So yeah, I found that interesting that we had seen this before, and I found it interesting when this picture first came out, just because he was so like called to. Like, there's a lot of other pictures we saw that was like groups of people, but like this was like they're taking a picture of him, so it was interesting, and I didn't know what to think. But yeah, he is listed now as Van Hayes. So next up, we have Elaine Cassidy.
Okay.
What do you think? You got any guesses?
Cordelia.
Well, we have Cordelia, right?
Do we have Cordelia?
Yes, we remember because we had that one from. Oh God, what country was it? They remember that because we talked about the article and it hadn't even been covered in English yet.
It was the Portuguese article.
Yeah, it was Portuguese, and it was about like a Portuguese
from Portugal
thing, and it had both Susanna and Cordelia were the two that we had covered. So
if not that, then Roland's mom? Maybe? Hey! 2 points for Peter.
Yeah, so that is Gabrielle
Deschamps.
So I like this. I
know her? Where do I know her from?
Elaine Cassidy. I actually was gonna maybe grab some like things from.
So damn familiar. I'm gonna look her up.
I could pull it up real quick. I have. I'm not sure if I remember her, if there's anything of hers that jumped out at me.
Agamorphia. Are you calling me a shaman?
No, shaman. Look.
Oh, shaman. Okay.
What are you thinking?
I thought just because I predicted it, he's calling me a shaman. I'm like, what the hell?
No. Yeah, no. Let's see. The Others with Nicole Kidman.
Never saw it.
Let's see. Dark Tower.
Saw that movie.
Trying to see if there's anything that jumps out at me here. I don't know. She's got a lot of TV work, but nothing that's like.
I probably saw her in an episode of something.
Yeah. I'm not Disco Pigs.
All right.
Well, I don't know about Disco Pigs, but I know about Dixie Pigs.
Yeah.
So that she's. I don't know. I like it though. I think that, and she's going to be not necessarily a big role, but definitely one that will be impactful
for sure.
You got the whole flag stuff. You got probably some dancing with Mr. Paconin. You also have the room scene with Roland. You got the going on the road is a big scene for her, and then of course trying to give the gift belt to Roland.
Yeah, if they go that route, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So so that's another one that was added to IMDb, and then so the weird thing with IMDb is like it started with like the one, and then these just started coming out. So like basically, I didn't know if the studio was letting like a trickle effect happen, where they were just trickling out some of these castings, or if it was like maybe some actors or agents where like one agent leaked that their client was in this, and then it just lead to like a lot of other like. People going, well, screw that. I'm not going to let my guy get left out.
Yeah.
And they just like, so a bunch of them got posted because it was like, a lot of these happened over the course of like a week where it was just like, just one after another each day. I was checking like IMDb, like morning, noon, and night to like see if there's any updates. So next one is Tim Chipping.
Mm-hmm.
And he is actually, I know you like, whether you remember or not, he was in Troy. He was in the movie Troy, which I haven't watched in
God knows how long.
Yeah, probably since the first couple years it came out. So he definitely has a specific look, but he is playing Christopher Johns, which would be Alan's father.
Oh, okay, Alan Johns. Okay.
Yeah.
was like, why does that name sound familiar?
Yeah, and I want to say that I can't remember. Was it an episode that we had that we brought up what was his dad's name? I remember somebody saying it in the chat, or it was either that or it was on Twitter where somebody answered in because I was like, what's the land's dad's name? Or it was. I think it was on our episode though. So yeah, it looks like Christopher Johns is going to be this fella here, Tim Chippings.
Okay.
So it's just you're kind of seeing some stuff fill in. So then basically what I've got here is the IMDb. What you got? So you got Lane Tim. You got. I mean, basically, what jumps out to me here is pretty much everyone I've covered that we know about. You got Susan down there toward the bottom. There's Cordelia there above McCready.
Yeah.
And then Sam Strike there is one of the first ones listed as Roland. But then that pretty much what that leads me to is, especially what jumps out there, right?
Yeah.
Is there's two gentlemen here, mystery men, that have yet to have their roles revealed, which is weird to me.
Court and Jonas.
Yeah.
Like Rourke is going to be Jonas.
Yeah.
And that's going to be Court.
Okay.
I got a feeling.
So that's Ivan K. Which we talked about.
Or Ivan's going to be the mayor. He might be the mayor.
I see. There's part of me that just feels like Avery. I don't know why. Avery is just my gut feeling that I've got. I think Court is the one that weirds me out because I feel like he could be a Court for sure. But Court weirds me out because it's weird to me that we don't have anything for him yet. And also there's just part of me that feels like Court wasn't the first thing that jumped to mind with him. There's something about it for me that just feels like Court should be one that when they cast him, it's instantly known.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And not necessarily saying that has to be the case. It just feels to me like when Court gets announced, it should be one of those oh yeah,
there's Court.
Clearly,
hey, look, it's Court.
So that's what there's just something about with Avery to me. I don't know with Ivan here,
The Sheriff Avery.
There's just something about that makes me think Avery. But I just found it interesting because as we looked at that list there, it just jumps out that there's two people that don't have characters listed, which is kind of funny to me. But yeah, so Ivan K. and Michael Rourke are the two that are not listed for name wise. Now we actually had another picture anyway that hit the old interwebs today.
Today?
Yeah,
Jesus,
this morning. And this was it basically was shot out, and I think it was somebody that was maybe even from Croatia. It was definitely not an English name for the Twitter handle, but it was sent out as saying it was Dark Tower related. And this is from Split, Croatia, and then not Rijek that we've been talking about, but Split, which we know we've talked about Split before. We've looked at pictures of it and stuff. What's your thoughts?
Trigger discipline first and foremost. I mean, get your finger off the trigger. Damn. Bunch of older looking fellas. I mean, white, salt and pepper, white. So
yeah,
Ranchers Guild. What Horsemen's Association.
Somebody brought that up on Twitter. My first thought was the deputies, Deputy Dave came to mind.
Oh yeah, the younger one, and then
because Deputy Dave's the older guy. Remember?
Deputy Dave's the younger
that
one.
has the wife that has the T.
Yeah, the young one.
I thought that was the older guy.
No, because Susan ends up killing him later, doesn't she? They played together when they were kids.
Is that Deputy Dave?
I thought it was Dave. Chad, help me out here.
Yeah, I just read her killing him, but I thought it was a different name.
I thought it was.
You know what's funny is I could even picture where I was at when that scene was happening last time I went through it.
That's the only deputy that really gets named, isn't it?
No, because they get introduced to them. Remember when they go to Avery to introduce themselves, and he kind of goes through and at least introduces them to three different guys. Because there's the one guy that gets hobbled. He gets a leg broken because that's when they deputize the big coffin hunters because the one guy broke a leg or something like that. And then Dave's wife,
Cody says yes, so I'm assuming that's what he's saying yes to.
And then Agamorphy says the comic book Court is so grotesque compared to how the book comes to my mind. And see, to me, the comic Court is basically what I pictured with him.
Yeah,
I don't know why. For me, it is I just pictured him being this barrel-chested, bald, grizzled motherfucker. That's pretty much what I've always pictured with him.
Oh yeah,
I don't know why.
Cody says Dave's only a few years older than Susan.
Okay, so I'm trying to remember then. Maybe it isn't Dave that I'm thinking with the wife that has maybe it is. Maybe I'm just thinking because I know
Dave's wife is
I
the
know
one
I know
with the
there's
tea.
I know there's an older one though that they mentioned.
Yeah, he's the one that's playing the game around the hillocks, the castles with Jonas, and he keeps getting his ass kicked. But Deputy Dave is the one with the wife with the tea, and then later on he's the one guarding them when Susan comes in and she has to kill him to get him out. To save herself.
But that was what came to mind. But you said Horsemen's Association. Somebody else on Twitter said
for
that
sure.
too. So because the other thing I will say is there's no badges.
We don't need no stinking badges. Sorry, guys. I'm reading it, and I just got to the part where Richie goes freaking nuts with that voice.
But no. So Horsemen's may actually be the better pick. Because you do actually have there's 3 of the guys are gray, or white haired. So it probably makes more sense that maybe they're like ranch owners.
Well, the other thing
right?
also may be is we may be getting a cross here. We may be getting 2 deputies and 2 horsemen associations. I mean, it may not be one group.
Yeah.
Because tell me the truth. Okay, the one with the gun, that doesn't make much sense that he would be Horsemen's Association if they're doing like the ball, like the welcome ball. You're not going to come with a gun.
Yeah.
But he may be the deputy that's there to keep law and order and everything like that. And then the other 3 are with the Horsemen's Association. That what makes sense to me. You got Deputy Dave and then the 3 Horsemen Association.
Yeah.
The 3 guys that helped, plan Pat Delgado's death, that kind of thing.
Yeah, indeed. So yeah, that's that was, like I said, that was a new one that hit today.
Also, can we just celebrate the fact that the guy on the left is smoking a pipe? Like, that's just glorious, right?
Yeah, indeed.
I know how you feel about pipes.
Indeed, pipes are great. Okay, so next up we have now we're kind of moving away from
so hold on a sec before we go to the next one. Okay, this is what I was talking about with the hats earlier. Those are the types of hats that I was picturing. Those
just
scream
standard Western hats, basically.
ranching, cattle driving, raising, raising animal kind of thing.
Yeah.
The hat earlier did not scream Western to me. It didn't. That's why I called it funny. Is that I'm picturing this.
Yeah.
For what I would. That's what I thought the big coffin hunters would be wearing too.
Yeah.
Trail riding wears these kinds of hats in my head. Whether it's trail riding to cattle ranch, to ranch and to ride, or to ride the trail and be a harrier. That for me, that's what I picture is this type of hat.
Yeah. And I think you'd probably say that's pretty well true for our Old West, right? It would just be a difference of like, is Midworld different with with different looks or whatever. So the next one here is actually from the Instagram of Sam Strike. Again, June 15th. So interesting date there. He's got the door to probably his trailer saying Roland Deschain. And then what his text says that he posted is he said, to the really bad man, old long, tall, and ugly, to the gunslinger, I'll miss you. Hope I see you soon. Long days and pleasant nights. And dude, I just got chills. Because like, that's not just book 4 stuff.
No.
That's some Data Walker. That is some Eddie Dean. And then Gunslinger. I mean, that's pretty much what he's called almost exclusively in the first book. You hardly get his name in the first book. And then he says, I miss you. I hope you see you soon. Long days and pleasant nights. So it makes me think that Sam is reading or listening to the books or
already has.
He has a familiarity with Dark Tower beyond just book 4, beyond what would have been in the scripts, right?
I always kind of wonder that when I see like the posts and the hashtags and the quotes from the series and everything like that, because Idris and Matthew both had that as well when they were cast and they were doing like the promotional stuff as well.
Yeah.
As you see stuff like, like You'll Never Catch Me or something like that from Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah.
So part of me always is like, do they have someone on hand that's like, hey, put this as a hashtag if you tweet something out, or make sure to put this in there as well?
Oh, yeah.
Because I would love to be that guy for the Dark Tower. Just be like, hey, by the way, slip this in there. That'll really fuck with the fans.
I definitely think that like your hashtags for your marketing people are definitely going to be there for sure. In fact, I want to say that Tom Hanks recently just gotten a little bit of a brouhaha for basically pulling out the list that marketing basically told him the things to say about Toy Story, and like just basically a laundry list of things, like the things to say, the things to highlight, the things to, whatever. And it just showing, it was just kind of peek behind the curtain of how scripted a lot of this stuff is. But there's just part of me, I feel like with social media, it might be a little bit different. And to me, like, I don't see marketing people wanting, like, telling him, like, here, use these lines from these various different books.
Sure.
I feel like it would be more of just like, Long Days of Pleasant Nights. Like I feel like that's one aspect where it's like, okay, cool, say this. If he hadn't already picked that up from the script, right? He would have read that, at some point.
Yeah.
Maybe saying it to his father, right?
Sure.
In the thing. But yeah, those other ones struck me really hard because I'm like, those are things you're talking about from the first couple books. So yeah, it makes me think that Sam may be getting into the role in a way of just fucking binging the books, maybe.
Hell yeah.
Which I love, I appreciate, and I feel like that's like maybe a difference between someone like Sam Strike that's like in the show versus like an Idris Elba or Matthew McConaughey. He's going to be able to dedicate time like that, whereas like
Sure.
a guy like Idris Elba, he's doing 5 or 6 movies a year. Like he's not going to have the same kind
Sure.
of time. Whereas Sam, not saying Sam isn't working a ton. I'm just saying with the series, especially when you move them out to
yeah.
I mean, how, like going
Croatia.
flying from New York to Croatia. I wonder what the flight time is on that. That might give him
Should we find out?
might give him time to listen through a couple books right there. If you can even fly direct, you might have a few stop offs there. But yeah, no, I think that's I think that's definitely a cool thing there.
So I could fly from New York to Croatia in 10 hours and 50 minutes. Plus, it has like a little plus symbol.
Wow,
there,
that
so.
seems really shy to me. I feel like it'd be longer to me.
Well, you got to remember, going across the Atlantic, they got those fast-moving jets.
Yeah.
So you fly across the Atlantic, you land in England, France, probably France.
But I swear my grandparents were like
switch and-
12 hours on the plane to get to like Holland from like Atlanta. So
Yeah.
that's just, I don't know, just seems odd.
No.
So Mark in the chat says Wilson should have been court. We don't necessarily know if we have a court yet, but he says sorry, LOL, Vincent D'Onofrio. Sorry for butchering his. No. I mean Wilson Fisk is probably what a lot of people would know him as, and I would say that is your court casting. Like if they were to just say like, hey,
Hell yeah.
Vincent D'Onofrio is cast in the Dark Tower, like there is nothing else he could play.
Oh, he could, but there's nothing else that he should play. The White Ray.
He plays Rhea.
God.
He's a good enough actor. No, but it's like Patrick Stewart. When Patrick Stewart was announced for X-Men, if they didn't instantly say it was Professor X, is there anyone that would have doubted that?
No.
And I just feel like D'Onofrio would be that for Core. Like he just has like the body size. He's bald.
Oh, yeah.
Like yeah, it would have been perfect. Okay, so now this is again another one of those things where I'm kind of shuffling things a little bit because there is a little bit more news. But I'm going to move over to Palaver and we'll come back. Just again, I want to the way I'm building it. I think this makes more sense. So on Twitter, I've been throwing out some different topics and had some good discussions and stuff. And I think it was Chris from Endworld that said these are good topics. You need to bring these up on the show so Peter can talk about them, maybe bring up whatever.
Okay.
And I agree. I thought they were good ones. So I was going through book 4, so I had some things that came to mind and I tweeted out. And I want to do this more regularly on Twitter. So if you follow us on Twitter, be looking for just some things and I'll end up sharing them on the show as well. So my tweet was, I just passed Roland looking into the grapefruit. You don't get much talk of the Dark Tower until this, and it comes late. Would you like to see the series keep the tower mostly unspoken until this point, with a full explanation saved for later seasons, i.e. book 5 through 7, which could be many seasons from now.
Mm-hmm.
So for this though, because ultimately, the movie definitely tried to go up front and give you like an explanation of the tower and its purpose and the danger to it and stuff right off, which obviously some people would argue it's what you got to do to appeal to
someone coming in that doesn't know the Dark Tower.
Yeah, non-readers and stuff.
Mhm.
So I guess what's your thoughts? Because the grapefruit you're talking, that's going to be the last couple episodes before Roland gets to that point. So would you want to go that far before even seeing any allusion to the Dark Tower? Because the fathers don't even mention it really.
Sure.
It's kept almost unspoken. Roland kind of discovers himself where he's like, oh, well, now I know what our fucking father's purposes are, and what our purposes are going to be as the Dark Tower.
Sure.
So it just makes me think, would you like to see basically, if you got 13 episodes, call it 10 episodes in and no allusions to the tower at all,
Yes.
and it's just the story
Yes.
of mages and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think that's the proper way to do it, because the big thing is that we're trying to build a universe. And if we're going to do it in TV show,
Yeah.
it's Amazon. But if we're going to do it on a show format instead of in a movie, then build the world first.
Yeah.
And building the world, I mean, I understand the argument would be, well, the Dark Tower is the center point for all universes in this universe that we're building. So we need to have that established. But for me, no, we don't. We need to establish the real world, the boots on the ground type of world before we look at big picture. Because it always shows that do really good start that way. Breaking Bad starts with Walter with his thing localized around him.
Yeah.
And then as the series grew, it expanded out into the wider world that is the drug dealing world of New Mexico.
Can I give you
and Mexico
a counterpoint to that?
Sure.
Lord of the Rings starts with like a 10-minute somewhat intro to basically introduce you to the world, to the stakes, basically set the table for the rest of the story. Like what the fuck is Sauron? What the fuck is the ring? You know, things like that. So with this, could you see it being either maybe even the intro to the show, like the opening, right? Like Game of Thrones shows you the map to, like, you know, not a lot, but like, I don't know, there's some that might have like a little bit more like.
No, the big thing for me is that if you're going to do it, you're talking movie and TV show. And again, that's what I'm talking.
No, I know, but
that's what I'm saying. No, I'm saying that's flat out. That's the difference there. If you're going to establish a movie, yes, you need to do Lord of the Rings style. That's what they did with the Dark Tower movie. That's what they did with Lord of the Rings. You do that with your movies. You establish the problem in Act 1 right up front. That's movie 101 there. If you drag it out too long, you're going to lose the audience. But for a TV show, The Walking Dead, you know, a Breaking Bad, 24, you don't instantly go right to the problem. A lot of times you're more establishing the character and the world first before you introduce the problem. And so for me, I don't want it introduced right away. I want Roland, I want Susan, I want Cuthbert, I want Court, I want Gilead, I want Major. I want that first, I want that established, I want to draw people in, and then I want to add the Dark Tower. Because that's the turning point for the series. Are we going to keep going if we go towards the path to the tower and stuff like that? Or are people only watching this because it's that? It's the same thing that Game of Thrones did. You started off with one episode not knowing really much of what's going on. You get an idea as the show goes along, the bigger picture.
Yeah.
I mean, you see like the spoilers a little bit for Game of Thrones. You see the White Walkers in episode 1, and then what? They disappear for what?
You pretty much see them once or twice a year.
Usually
it's like the very beginning of the season, the very end of the season.
Right. For me, that's not necessarily the tower, but that's the Dark Tower aspect of the show.
Yeah.
Is you have to add something later on that's going to change things. They did that with The Walking Dead, with finding out that even if people just die normally, have a heart attack and die, okay, this is what happens when you die.
Yeah.
This is just going to happen now. And when I think back to successful TV shows, that's what they do, is they build first and then introduce that season problem. And if you're going to do or a series problem.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's for me, that's the proper way to do a show.
Okay. So
Man in the High Castle does it too.
Yeah, no, that's true. Like it's an unraveling.
Yeah.
Now I will say, for instance, Man in the High Castle, I just watched almost all that over the last number of weeks or whatever. I will say, for me, when I got to that, and now I know that the final season's coming up in the fall, there's part of me that feels like they took too long though. I feel like there's times where I was getting filler, and they could have just been giving me more of the meat, I guess. And I'm not necessarily, I like the show, but I did think that, where I'm like, man, so now I pretty much, at the end of the last season that's actually been out, I have a very good idea of things. But now I've got a season to let the rest of that unfold, and the show's over. Man, I wish I would have known. Even if they had just shifted a tiny bit to where I could have got it a little bit earlier and allow just more of it to live and breathe.
No.
You know?
I get your point entirely. One of the shows that I got really obsessed with a few years ago was Buffy. Never watched it when it was on TV and everything like that. And it does an interesting formula where it has every season has a big bad. That's the focus point. Is that one season is focused for this big bad and everything. It's kind of like how 24 did it. You always had one main.
Dexter.
Dexter was that too. And I only watched one season of Dexter, but you've told me enough about it that I can recognize that. But for things like that, it's great doing one thing, but then you get a larger show and a more complex show. You look at something like for me, Breaking Bad is a perfect example, where each season it just expands out further.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to see is it's a rose blooming pun intended here, for the Dark Tower.
Yeah.
Yes, we're going to start with a very small thing, but that's how the Dark Tower was written. Is, it's like each book added another layer, another unfurling there.
And the book did for sure. I'm just curious, can that same strategy be used in the same way for a series that you did with the book? And I guess that's the larger question that was kind of almost implied in what I tweeted is do you think that is possible, or do you think it's wise to where basically like this and like let's see, who was it? I just saw somebody mention. Jack says, yeah, good point. Maybe on the show they slowly introduce the idea, like the boys overhearing about the tower. And you know what I thought of a little bit too is like when Roland tells them about the tower, they say it's not real.
Right.
So it's almost it's like a legend or a myth. So
Sure.
maybe it's even like give some. Because like that almost ruined it, because I always forget about small details like that. Because originally I was saying some episodes back, I was saying that maybe you have like it start up with like they're in class with Van A and he's outlining like the Dark Tower, not necessarily everything about it,
Sure.
but like talking about it. But then when you get to that point in the book where it's like, oh well, no, Roland, come on, the tower's not real. It's it's like mythical kind of thing.
No, see, for me, that's what I think. Is because if you take, so let's do this. Take that first, like you said, 20 minutes of Lord of the Rings and cut it out, right? All of a sudden, Frodo has a ring, and Gandalf is just freaking the hell out.
Yeah.
You have no reason why, if you're an audience member, of knowing what's his problem.
Yeah.
That's why you need that 20 minutes.
Yeah.
But for us, the thing is, with a TV show, you're going to be along the ride of discovering that with that. That's what good books do. We've talked about this. We've talked about this many times. I love Harry Potter for that reason, is because we're seeing things from Harry Potter's point of view, where he's learning to be a wizard and learning what's going on in the magical world and the differences between our world and his world. And you see that with Stranger Things. You see that with Breaking Bad, where you're introduced to aspects of that world with the characters of the show.
Yeah.
I want to see that with the Dark Tower, because I don't want them to go outside and do in the beginning there was the Dark Tower and the darkness, and then the tower sprouted out of the what do they call it, the prim, stuff like that. I don't want that. I want to see Roland discover it. I want to see Roland go through the grapefruit. I want to see the psychedelic Doctor Strange kind of shit that he sees in there. I want to be with him when he does that journey.
Okay.
And that's what I want. And so Agamorphy says here, but there's no point in showing Flag without the tower.
In the context of this story,
absolutely there
is. You have basically he's basically disrupting the kingdom from the inside.
Sure.
And I'm still, again, I know it's controversial, but if I say Flag and Farson are the same person, I believe that there's enough in the text to maybe believe both ways. I think the comic books steer people more towards the fact that they're not, but I believe that they are. So I feel like that he's basically destroying them also from the outside. I think he's playing the games that you would expect Flag to play. He's playing all sides, and he's destroying things from all angles. So is Flag going to have as big of a role as he does, like as you maybe want him to? No, but again, he doesn't even have that big a role in the books.
He's so small in the books when it comes to book 4. And well, even all 7
or all
books.
Yeah.
He's pretty minuscule between all 7.
Sadly.
Jack says this. No, stop it. Jack says, I suppose it depends on where they start from. Start in Gilead, and you've got into intro Flag, then Flag is Farson, then Flag working for the Tower, which goes along the lines with what you're talking about. And in all honesty, that may be the way that you do it. That actually is a perfect idea. You don't have to see the big bad when Roland discovers it. I mean, that's what I want. I like discovering it from my character's point of view, my favorite character, And Roland's most likely going to be my favorite unless they nail Cuthbert perfectly.
Yeah.
It's probably going to be Roland. Maybe Jonas, I don't know. With him.
Just one caveat, I would tweet it out. I believe that Cuthbert, so long as the actor is picked right and he acts it right, he's going to be the Doc Holliday to this series.
Oh, probably. Yeah, for sure. He's got so many great lines and the quips and the crow's head and everything like that. If they keep all of that, he's going to be the best. I mean, he's the best of book 4, let's be honest.
Yeah, true.
He's the best of book 4.
True.
Eddie Dean's twins, so I mean, let's not mince words here. We all know why. So, but basically for me, the other thing is that you can, with a TV show, you can give the other side of things and advance the plot through something that's not happening to Roland. we could see Flag doing things behind the scenes, moving things around, messing with things, fucking with Roland and everything like that. Without, you could see have him having conversations with his men all the way over in the fucking west, not even near Magus, about how we have to get him going towards the tower. We have to get the tower, and this and that has to happen, and everything like that. You can see him plotting and scheming because they do that in TV shows as well, and it works fine. It does. But for me personally, I like the build and the reveal.
Yeah.
Because especially when you think about fans, like my wife is what I think of here. She's never read The Dark Tower past halfway through Gunslinger. She has no idea what happens, no idea what's going on. She has a little bit from the movie, but she's not going to know book 4.
Yeah.
And so for me, I want to focus on the events of book 4 because, that's the reason why you hated book 4 so much when you first read it.
Yeah, when I first read it, yeah.
It's because it took you away from the Tower path.
Yeah.
But that's not where we're at when we're introducing this series.
Yeah.
So for me, if we're going to do it and we're going to do it right, let's build the world. Because that's what a lot of people had a problem with the movie.
And I think I agree for the most part. I think the only thing that makes me apprehensive to be fully embracing of that is just that I don't want to be in a spot where you're not giving enough, because ultimately it is still called The Dark Tower too, right?
Sure.
That's the thing that hurts it. If the movie was just called Gunslinger, they could have avoided talking about the tower at all, and it could have just been about Roland and Jake. You know what I mean?
Sure.
With this, though, again, it is called the Dark Tower series, so it's you're going to have to.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. At some point, people might be a little bit wondering, why is this called Dark Tower? When we're seeing this love story / conspiratorial thing unfolding. But that's my only slight complaint. But I think that it could work fully well as the book does, which means that it may be the final few episodes before we see the grapefruit in Roland's hand and get that crazy psychedelic Doctor Strange, like you said, Doctor Strange. That's exactly what I pictured too.
Oh yeah,
Just
for
super
sure.
super crazy trippy thing. But then and even that's not going to be a lot. It's only going to be a taste. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And
until we get into season 2, and that's the thing is that's going to be just fine for me.
But I guess that's the second part of my question, though, is would you want to see the full explanation saved as it is in the books, which for the course of the show would mean maybe season 5 or 6, right? Because in season 2, let's just say that season 1 ends pretty much where book 4 ends. So that means that season 2 is going to be a lot of the Fall of Gilead stuff and that kind of stuff, maybe getting you into more Gunslinger era. But then you're talking season 3 for Gunslinger and drawing of the 3, and so you might be 6 or 7 seasons in before you finally get the full story of what is the Dark Tower? What's its purpose? And what the fuck are we doing? And I'm not saying that's bad. I'm just saying that, man, can you go that far before people because it's crazy to think about, but that's the way it was in the books, right? We were five books in before we got a lot of details about the Dark Tower.
Sure, but they don't have to do that for us. I mean, that's the thing with the shows; they don't have to do that.
Okay,
and let's be perfectly honest. The odds of us getting completely made up story for season 2 with the Fall of Gilead and Jericho Hill and stuff like that.
Well, it's mostly comic stuff.
That's
right?
mostly probably stuff that's not going to be in the show. If they're going to go from Magus to anything, they're probably going to go right from Magus to Drawing of the 3. If we're going to get anything, that's probably right where we're going to go. In my mind, that makes the most sense.
I just feel like you could almost even do Fall of Gilead and Gunslinger in a single season.
It's possible.
Merge them together. I mean, you'd have a time jump.
It would be It would be really cool to see a flashback kind of thing where you have two, kind of like it does. Like we talked about, Stephen King
or
does this a lot.
Godfather 2.
Godfather 2 is a perfect example of them doing that. That's a great example.
Yeah, it jumps around.
Where it goes from De Niro to Pacino, De Niro to Pacino,
Yeah.
De Niro to Pacino. But at the same time, their stories are advancing to an end. You know? And that would be a really cool way of doing
That would help
2.
fill in some of the blank spots of in the book, the stuff that's internal thought and stuff of Roland can now be filled with he's chasing the Man in Black, but he's also remembering what the Man in Black did, right? Because if ultimately he's going to see the Man in Black, because we at this point an audience would already be connected to Alan and Cuthbert. So then during the course of this, we're going to see him kill those characters. You know, either whether it's directly or indirectly. So it'd be a cool way to kind of to outline maybe why Roland's chasing him. But yeah, no, what I'm with you though. I think that for this season, let's just wait till the glass. So that would be fine by me. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do.
Yeah, for sure.
And then Agamorphy said a little bit further back not in end of the season, more like second episode. Yeah, I think it'd have to wait till grapefruit with Roland, which would be toward the end.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like if you don't hit it right from the beginning, then you just have to wait till then.
Well, that may be where we were talking about what I was talking about earlier. Maybe I didn't do a right way of explaining it. Is that you get Flag hinting at it.
Or what about seeing the fathers talk about it early, episode 1 or 2?
You could get the fathers. You could get Flag. You could get Jonas and Farson's men, Latigo talking about it. You could get any one of these hinting things where you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
What the hell are they talking about here? We got to come back to that later and see what the full explanation there is. Hopefully they reveal that.
Yeah.
And then boom, it's revealed and it's a kind of moment, kind of thing. A lot of shows do that where they'll have other characters drop things. I mean, I'm trying to think of one exactly like where it's like
there's a pretty big thing in Game of
one.
Thrones that was hinted at for a long time. It wasn't revealed till much later in the series. A parentage of a certain character.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, no, exactly. Something like that where
they stretched that out for 6 years or so. I mean,
no, it's true. And obviously, I'm not talking something like that extreme. But there's the end of a movie. I can't remember what it is. Oh, it's freaking Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah, they like hinted at it. They're like, you're not. They're talking about Peter Quill, Star-Lord.
Yeah.
They're like, he's like, I'm not full-blooded human. No, you're not full-blooded Terran. Your father's something else. And it's like,
yeah,
huh? And then they just leave it as that.
Yeah.
They tell him the character there, but there's a movie that I'm thinking of where it's like something like that, and then it's like the character walks away and he's like, "Are you going to tell him about his mom?" Nah, he'll figure it out. Something like that. Something along those lines. I can't remember what movie it is. I can't even picture the scene or anything like that. But then it's like the next season or the season after they find out that the mom's still alive or some shit like that.
Yeah.
So like that kind of thing. That's what you mentioned, the fathers. The boys ride away from them, and then it's like, you didn't tell them about the tower, Steven. They're not ready yet. Something like that. He's a gunslinger. Are you questioning me? No.
Or it could just,
they need to know.
Or it could just be
like
hearing like in the distance, hearing Cuthbert being a clown, and just like one of them being like, "Future of the Towers." On
even just a line like that. No, exactly like that. Something like that. And then like another thing that would be really cool is like you see Flag over in the West doing his little dicking around, fucking things up and everything like that. Send men here, rob this train. It's going to have ammunition on it. We need that ammunition. At this point, it's going to be most unguarded. Yeah, okay. Yeah, great. Sounds good. Okay, yeah. All hail the Crimson King. Something like that.
Yeah.
Something like that would really just like, really, like throw a bone to us, and then it also throws a bone to like the fans that are like, wait, what the fuck are they talking about?
Yeah.
Tower,
yeah.
what tower? Crimson King, shit like that.
Yeah. And Agam Murphy says, I feel like the OA had taken too long. Carnival and HBO might have taken too long too. And then Mark said he agreed with you, and I think that's just about the whole Dark Tower reveal stuff. Jack says, I remember listening to the books for the first time and desperate to find out more about the tower. However, that may not translate to TV in the same way for a slow reveal. And then I remember the same thing. I remember just being like, come on. Like,
it's one of the things
how many
that
books
draws
are we in
you.
and we don't know what's going on with
it's one of the things
still.
that really draws you into the series is like, oh my God, I want more.
Yeah.
Give me more. And then so then here Jack talks about Cuthbert, he says
Mark, you mean?
Oh, I'm sorry, Mark. I think Cuthbert will be of African descent, and on the pics I've seen, the black man I saw, I immediately thought could be Cuthbert's father. And I said, Michael B. Jordan?
Too old? Unfortunately, too old.
Damn it.
Now, I
Dude, I love Michael B. Jordan so much. He's such a great actor.
Me too. He's definitely too old, though. All right, so that's one tweet. My other tweet, I says, all right, hashtag Dark Tower fans. What are some smaller detail type things from book 4 that you geekily hope to see included in the TV series? No huge plot point things. And I said, note, I'm looking for nerdy conversations, if it's not this exact way, it's garbage takes, so keep it positive. And then I gave a smiley emoji. Because,
of course you did.
Just for you. So yeah, and some people, there's mostly I got good answers. There's some people that did end up getting big plot points, but I'm like, whatever, who cares?
Yeah.
But like, so what about you? What are some things like that you want to see that aren't necessarily not like, courts, the trial with court, or no, not like that, like small things.
Shimi and his donkey, the little where he starts swearing at the donkey.
Yeah,
I don't know why, but I fucking love that scene so much.
That bites him.
Bites him.
Is it Cappy?
Yeah, Cappy. You bit me right on my ass, Cappy. You old son of a bitch.
Yeah, indeed. So you can go ahead and try to think of more, but I'll start reading some that I took down as notes from people. Post-apocalyptic vibe, the great old ones, oil derricks, thinny luring and snatching animals and people, Avery's ice maker, Rook's skull, talk of Farson and horses, of course. That's one person.
Yeah, I've already brought up the Rook skull once already this episode, and I love that.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh God, I would love that so much if I made it into the show.
Yeah,
especially the one where he yells at the Rook skull for failing something.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
like, you fell asleep on the job or some shit like that. Fucking Cuthbert.
Another one, Rhea spying on the entire town, doing private things.
Yes.
Especially the floor licker.
Oh, God. My tongue.
Careless Love, sung by Susan, is another one that someone mentioned. How they incorporate the leftover bits in the midst of the Western setting. So kind of the merging of like modern things in the middle of the Western vibe, which I think is like, I agree with, but I also think that's a big thing because they're going to have to try to establish without hopefully just telling people, show people that like, this isn't just the Old West, in some way. Another one said Rhea's mark/symbol, Cuthbert's Rook skull, and his borrow oversized sombrero.
Yeah.
Another one says Ermot getting blown away.
Boom.
Poor Ermot. Another person said Roland keeping the horn after the Battle of Jericho Hill. That may not be for this season, but certainly would be
for the show.
And basically, this person said that one of, and they weren't necessarily, they were ones that enjoyed the movie. They basically said that that they really liked seeing that there, and would hate to see that lost in this. Another person obviously using a big plot point, saying using David to beat Court. Another one says hoping to learn how to play castles. Another person says the intense scene with Roland calling out Jonas as a failed gunslinger.
Oof.
And which is that's a great scene. That's a great scene. Another person, Watch Me Being Played, which is one of the gambling games in the Rest. Somebody mentioned Hey Jude. I don't think that's going to happen.
Someone brought that up in our chat. Agamorphy said a piano player in a saloon playing Hey Jude.
Yeah, I wish, man. But like,
let's go.
And I responded to a person because there's that movie coming out next week. Yesterday,
yeah, the Beatles.
It sounds like, and this is like movie studio, right? And like, so apparently they dealt with Apple Music, which is the Beatles studio, has nothing to do with my Apple computers, right?
Sure.
And Sony, who owns the catalog in conjunction with the Beatles. They, for that movie, I think they have like 17 songs. It cost them like $10 million.
Good God.
So that's, I just look at that. I'm like, I don't know what that equates to per song or if that's how it works, but chances are Hey Jude is probably
not going to be able.
Yeah, probably not going to happen as much as I would love to see it.
Let's go one step further and have the piano player be called, what's his name?
Sheb. Yeah, indeed. Let's see, Mark said that was me. I love the bit where Roland shoots Ermot. Yeah, and I didn't take names down. I was just grabbing some from different ones here. Another person, remnant of the old worlds, like mobile tanks, even if they're seen in the background. Susan and Roland's relationship, as well as Roland's relationship with his Tet. Obviously not a small thing, but still be a good thing to see. Rhea's hut. I think that'll... Dude, I could picture it. I just,
you know what the worst part about Rhea's hut is? I can smell it.
You can smell it. Yeah, it's quite pungent.
It's very pungent.
But like, I think of like when Roland and Cuthbert go, but there's another point too when the doors open and it's just like this gaping maw. It's like blackness.
Shimi goes up and brings the ale.
Is that the other one? But I know that's Roland, because Roland eventually like looks through the side of his eye to look past the enchantment and then ends up seeing her.
Yeah.
So there's that. Iced tea, so good that I can taste it. And I want to see Shimi super proud of his flowers.
Okay, so here's a confession that we have to fix before the series comes out. Then, if we're going to talk about it, I've never had iced tea.
Oh yeah,
it's never been a tea drinker. I've tried tea a couple times, but iced tea, not a single time in my life.
Yeah. All right.
So. If we're gonna talk about iced tea and everything, I gotta try it first. So
yeah, indeed. Next up, Rhea getting horned up by her snake bro. I was like, okay, that's There's a few of these I was like, oh, that's a little questionable, but okay.
Of course, you add it. monster.
Cuthbert having a conversation with the Rook Skull. I will say Rook
Yeah.
Skull is like top of the list, like in terms of most people mentioned it. And then another person asked this, so this kind of became like almost another question. With the slingshot, do you picture it being slow motion and stylized, or fast and violent? Portrayed on
I think
screen.
it depends on the shot, but for the most part, I would love to see it in real time.
Yeah, I think you got to go
That's
fast
one of
and
the things.
violent.
That's one of the things that I'm watching Punisher season 2
Okay,
right now. Is there only 2 seasons?
I think so.
Yes, because he's in Daredevil season 2 and
Yeah.
then 2 seasons of Punisher. Okay,
Yeah,
but I'm watching season 2 of Punisher right now, and I love that a lot of times the violence and the action, they don't do that shit.
yeah.
They do it hard, fast, let you see it in real time.
I think slow motion wouldn't work for a slingshot, just because slingshots are so childish in most of our minds.
it would look silly.
It would end up making it look silly and not take it seriously.
I think that if
so
you
I
do
think
it,
it's just got to be quick,
yeah,
and I think you got to like show early that it's like dangerous and it
Yeah.
does damage.
I think that I I combine 2 things here, the book and Tombstone. The one that I picture is, correct me if I'm wrong, it's been a little bit since I've read The Dark Tower, but in book 4, when they do the write up and he's picking people off, there's one where there's 2 writers writing next to each other and then one right behind them, but like really close behind him. So he takes the one behind, and then Roland and Cuthbert take the other 2. Like, I think one of them throws the knife, and I think the
You
other
mean
one.
Alain then?
Yeah,
Cuthbert has the slingshot.
Oh, Cuthbert takes the. I thought Alain had it.
No,
No, Cuthbert takes
Alain
one.
has the knife.
Oh, yeah.
because he uses it in the rest too.
Yeah, he takes one. He takes one with the slingshot. Alain takes one with his knife, and then Roland pistol whips one, or Cuthbert takes the other one. But I don't know why, but I always picture that scene. I picture the Tombstone where he comes up and hits the guy in the face with the butt of his shotgun, right across the mouth and everything
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
So I picture like 3 riding across, maybe one a little bit behind. Cuthbert takes that one, and as they turn to look to the left is what I picture. Roland rides up next to him, and as he turns, he just pistol whips the guy off the horse.
Yeah, indeed. Let's see. And then next up, this is another questionable one. Which is Inspection of Susan? Yeah, that's I don't know about that one. Interaction with the grapefruit, it was mentioned. That's definitely, that I can't wait for that. Then Roland traveling through the grapefruit, another person bringing it up. Also the guardian totems, which that'd be a really cool thing to see. I mean, they're not that's one of those things that can just disappear if not given the attention of the filmmakers, right?
Mhm.
Like they're never important to the story for
Sure.
this. Like, yeah, Roland hides behind him and stuff, but they could just as easily be pelts of an animal, like,
Or a pillar.
yeah,
or,
it doesn't.
or
Yeah,
the edge of the building. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So that's that. Let's see, and then what does Agmurphy says, but only for that integral shot in
He
the
says slow-mo.
encounter at the Travelers. Oh, for slow mo.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he says he wants slow-mo slingshot, but he says they do it just the first shot at the Traveler's Rest where he takes Roy's finger
yeah,
almost off and everything. I think he rips the fingernail off, which of course, me and you.
yeah.
I see you clenching your fingernails right now. It's like, ugh. Because that always brings back that one memory for you, doesn't it? The Ring, that video where it pushes the nail pushes through and
No,
puts
I think
the,
it's Silence of the Lambs. With the,
the wall, Jesus.
or there's the Land of the Dead too. They have that tank.
Yeah,
The zombies start scratching and their nails
You
are just
see the nails
ripping
are
off.
just ripping off. I don't know why, but I always remember watching The Ring with you.
Yeah, there's
And
that
then
too.
on the DVD, if you like push like up or down or left
yeah,
or
you
right,
can get the video.
you get the actual video. You can't pause it. You can't stop it. But me and you watched it like 7 times in a row just to see there's a nail sticking up out of a board and a thumb pushes down on the nail, going through the nail. Like the nail goes through the thumb and it pushes the thumbnail off.
yeah,
Like just every time anyone mentions anything about nails, that's the first thing that comes to my mind because that's the first time I ever saw something like that in film.
yeah, indeed. So, is there any other ones that you came up with while I was reading those that come to your mind in terms of smaller things that you're almost anticipating geeking out about seeing?
I really don't want them to change that Magus isn't just horses. I want the fishing side of it as well, and the sea coast and the sea air and everything like that.
Yeah,
For me, it sounds like we're going to get it with the shots we see from Croatia,
yeah,
but we very easily could be filming further inland or only filming buildings and not getting that counting the fishing nets, counting the fishing boats, counting the wire, and everything like that.
Yeah.
But for me, with mages, I mean, obviously the first thing that comes to my mind is the drop.
Yeah.
Slopes, meadows, fields, and everything like that. But I always my mind is always kind of drawn to the sea, because there's only 2 seas that we ever see in the entire Dark Tower.
Yeah.
It's the Western Sea that Roland ends up at the end of book 1, and that sea with mages. So it would be kind of cool if they expanded a little bit on that for me. But for me, I don't want to see just horses.
Yeah. I can see that. And Agromorphes mentions Gerald's game for hand issues.
Oh, Jesus.
That's what I was waiting for.
Oh, fuck. I forgot about that one.
Yeah. Eyeballs and fingernails are just like...
Okay. Eyeballs, fuck off. Don't even mention eyeballs. Fingernails, those can regrow.
Did you watch the trailer,
Christ.
the red band trailer for Brightburn?
Yes. Jesus Christ, dude.
Oh, dude.
So I'm reading it, right?
That is brutal.
I completely... correct me if I'm wrong. You do this too. There's certain parts of Stephen King's books that you just completely forget about.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Like 100% just forget about.
Yeah.
One of the ones that always that I forget about is frickin' Patrick Hawkster's death in It.
Yeah, oh yeah.
That one with the thing that kills him right there.
Yeah.
And I'm pointing so I'm not doing too many spoilers for It. Going right there and sucking that out. Horrifying.
Yeah.
Every freaking time.
Yeah.
The worst part is this time when I listened to it, I was freaking driving and my contact slid in my eye. I had to pull over and make sure that my eye was okay. I was so freaked out. God.
So, also getting to the end of book 4, you know what? One thing that always tends to just like, it's not that I necessarily, I guess I do forget. It's just one of those things that like never equates in my mind when I think about the end. Is I always forget about the boys getting arrested.
Oh, really?
Like, it's just one of those things, like, when that scene's coming, like, it just feels like maybe it's just what I have in my head for Roland, that he's generally just a step ahead of people, that, like, when, like, they come and, like, give the whole thing about, just don't come into town on Reap and, like, whatever. So they think that everything's on Reap. So there's just part of me that always, in my mind, puts it together that Roland knew the deception, so they were ready for them, and like everything happens without them getting arrested. I don't know why. That just is something that every single time they get fucking arrested, usually I'm reading it, I'm just like, God damn it! Like, that's not supposed to happen.
Sons of bitches, why are you arresting them? They didn't kill anyone.
Yeah, it just I don't know why.
It's the injustice.
And that's a big plot point too. So I don't know why. After this discussion, now I'll probably never forget it again. But it's just one of those things. Every time I get to it, I'm like, motherfucker.
I have one of those in the stand.
Yeah.
Every single time I forget about Stu falling.
Oh.
Every single time. Like, my brain should be like, why isn't he in Vegas? But for me, it's always that one. It's like, son of a bitch.
Up until, like, recently, I used to, like, have full memory of all 4 of them in Vegas in this miniseries.
Really?
So the fact that, like, it's only 2 people in this, even just like the picture, but it's like I remember watching it as a kid, and I swear the memory in my mind from being a kid is all 4 people chained in Vegas. So yeah, I'm with you a little bit on that, but I think I've mostly remember now the fall, but the other one involved there I don't ever remember.
So speaking of the stand, you saw the thing from Deadline, right?
Deadline.
Yeah. I'm just going to show Ted. I don't want to get too far into it, but there's rumors flying around about a casting for Stu.
Yeah, so so here's another thing I wanted to bring up in the Palaver section before we move on to the next news thing.
Sure.
Is Amazon used to do a thing with their stuff where they would post their pilots, allow people to watch, and they would actually allow people to vote. They both looked at how many people watch, and they also looked at votes and stuff. They don't do that anymore.
Okay.
So it just hit me recently that, like, there's a chance that, like, they could pass on Dark Tower before we even see episode 1.
We wouldn't even see anything.
And I don't know what they would do with the pilot, but, like, it makes me wonder, should we just, like, try to organize Dark Tower fans and, like, come up with a hashtag maybe, and or maybe look into seeing, like, what email address we might be able to find for, like, sending towards Amazon Studios.
Sure.
And just, like, make it known, man. Like, let's just, I don't know what everyone thinks. There's just part of me that thinks that maybe we need to...
Let's petition Amazon to bring us out so we could watch it.
No, it's just one of those things where it's like
No, I'm just saying.
whether it's like Greenlight Dark Tower hashtag or something, like just something like mobilize people that are like Dark Tower fans to like let Amazon know like, hey, we fucking want this.
Wait, so you're saying that we shouldn't petition Netflix for it?
Yeah. No, I think that would be most unwise.
Sorry,
It just came to my mind that maybe to do something like that. And like, I'll jump on Twitter. We've got a chunk of listeners. Maybe jump on like message boards and all this, and see how many people we can get behind us to like just spread it and try to get as many people as we can to where.
Sure.
I don't know. I just wonder, like, does Amazon fully know the fandom that's behind it? And
I think they do. That's one of the reasons why they picked up the show. So
yeah,
I mean, I shouldn't say picked up the show, but that's one of the reasons why they picked up the rights to the show and are making a pilot. Because
I don't know. It's just a thought I had that maybe we want to do something. I'm thinking like hashtag Greenlight Dark Tower TV or something. I don't know, because Dark Tower TV has been the hashtag that has been used thus far to like signify the show. So I just figure throw Greenlight in front of it, make that a hashtag, and maybe mobilize all of our listeners and all of our followers on social media to start tweeting, man.
Who's the one that replaced what's her name? That
there's no replacement yet.
No replacement yet.
Yeah, to be determined. So I don't know about an email address. So it might just have to be like a more of a hashtag / tweet at Amazon, because Amazon Studios has a Twitter handle. Yeah. I think Facebook as well. Like there's things on there you can do. Hashtags work on Facebook. Amazon Studios probably has a Facebook page. I'm just thinking that might be a thing. Like, let's mobilize and tell everyone, like, start tweeting it and messaging these people.
Let's just make it so much more simpler. Just go get that Amazon executive job.
Yeah.
Come on, Ted. Go on.
Yeah. So I don't know. That's just a thought I wanted to bring up, and maybe I will hit up on the social media here in the near future, because I feel like there was just part of me that realized that like a year or so ago they got rid of the way they used to do pilots, and it just struck me, and I'm like, oh my god, like what if they fucking, because like they're entering into post-production right now, so we got some time before like it gets turned into Amazon. But I wonder if, I mean, I don't know, not necessarily, it's not that letter writing campaigns can't work, because they have in the past, Star Trek and stuff.
Family Guy's been canceled like 18 times and come back 19 times.
So I just wonder about, maybe speaking up and saying, hey, Amazon, we want this shit. Greenlight it. So let's go ahead and jump on over to the last bit of news before we get into odds and ends. And this is exclusive. Here's who's being eyed to star in the Stephen King The Stand at CBS All Access. And this is actually posted yesterday. Yeah, yesterday. So again, it's one of those things, man. This is when I text you about going long, because I wanted to go through this. Obviously, we feel.
So this isn't just the one that I showed you just now. There's several?
There's some stuff.
Oh, shit, yeah.
So there is. So let's go ahead and, so there's an article involved. But there's also, I got some slides here with some pictures and all that kind of stuff. So let me start off here. This is called Exclusive. Here's who's being eyed to star in Stephen King's The Stand at CBS All Access by Jeff Snyder from Collider on July 21st, 2019, which is yesterday at the time of this recording. So let's go ahead and let me read this first before we get the intro stuff. Back in January, CBS All Access announced that it would be moving forward with a 10-episode limited series based on Stephen King's Magnum Opus, The Stand.
10 episodes?
And the Magnum Opus, no.
Yeah.
None of that now.
Oh.
The Magnum Opus
is the
Dark Tower series.
Oh, Ted, are you getting mad that they used it on the wrong series?
Yes.
The wrong books?
And, I mean, yeah. Is it his absolute, probably like singular achievement, probably the best? Yes. Is it his Magnum Opus? No.
You going to boycott it now just because of that?
No, well, no, it's not. It's not the show. It's Mr. Jeff Snyder here that's misinformed. And he goes on and says, which hails from writer Josh Boone, and then parentheses, The Fault in Our Stars, and Ben Cavill, SEAL Team, as well as CBS Television Studios. Boone is directing the series, which is gearing up to start pre-production. That means that casting is underway. CBS All Access could not confirm any castings at this time, but here's what we've heard about the ensemble so far from multiple agency sources. So there's multiple sources involved here. And yeah, I just thought we covered the fact that they are talking 10 episodes now. Is it originally
every time I swear we bring it up, I'm like, 10 episodes. And
no, because originally it was like 1 or 2 movies. Then he was talking about how he might get like 4 movies, and then it was like 4 or 5 episodes, and then like last big update was as when they were kind of looking like they were going from back burnering it to front burnering it. They basically said that it'll be 10 episodes. So that's pretty great.
Awesome.
Yeah, so here's what we got. So, and then funny enough, the way I structure our slideshow, I usually move things to the very bottom that I might need to use later. So our Dreamcasting stuff has been sitting at the bottom of this slideshow for a good while. So I just utilized the slides that we didn't really ever use for this. So go ahead and talk about Mr. Stu
Redman
here. And for the course of the article, they basically tell you who they're targeting. Then they tell you a little bit about the character and then who played them previously. I'm not covering who played them previously. You're going to see it in the picture here, obviously, but I'm not going to go into it. I'm also not going to read the character descriptions because
we know them.
If you've read The Stand, you know it. If not, I don't know. I guess maybe it would have been useful then, but too late now. I don't have them in notes. So, for Stu, we have, get over here, James Marsden.
Mm-hmm.
So you know him.
Cyclops
from X-Men.
Yeah.
He was the Lois Lane
boy toy from Superman.
I was gonna say, I don't think they were married.
I think they were married.
You kind of got implied that it was his kid there, but
I'm pretty sure they were married.
Were they?
Yeah.
I don't know. I couldn't remember. But either way, Cyclops is the big one. And
Cyclops.
The big one now is he's basically got a huge following because his role in Westworld.
Oh,
so,
I still haven't watched that.
No, yeah, I watched like one episode, and I realized like I don't have the attention span for this right now. It needs way more attention than I can give it, so I'm going to back burner it. And
I'm just gonna back up slowly.
Yeah, because I don't like getting into a show that needs like the attention and not be able to give it to it. I don't think it's fair to the show.
That is a fair assessment. And that is exactly what happened with me with The Man in the High Castle.
Oh, yeah?
Because there's a lot going on there with, like, alternate realities and stuff like that and everything. So I'm just like, I'm just going to back up.
Yeah, indeed. So, next up, we have Nadine Cross.
Nadine. How I love to love Nadine.
So Nadine is being, then it said, with the Stu Redman thing, it said James Marsden, Westworld, is in advanced negotiations to play Stu Redman. Nadine Cross here is Amber Heard. Amber Heard.
Oh, yeah.
You would know her from
Aquaman.
Aquaman is one of her bigger roles. Yeah. Amber Heard, Aquaman, is in negotiation to play Nadine Cross. So that's I liked her in Aquaman.
Yeah.
I thought she did a good job.
She's really good.
Yeah. So next up, Abigail Fremantle. So for Ms. Fremantle, the what is Flag call her? A witch or something witch?
Oh, we're not going to go into what he calls her.
No, or did you say your witch is dead or something? Because when he tells someone that she's dead.
Oh, he's talking to the professor.
Glenn.
Yeah, he tells him
your witch
your black witch is dead.
Okay.
Something like that.
Yeah, because I remember him calling her a witch. It always made me laugh.
Of course it did. Jesus Christ.
What? It's just like he would say. It's the perfect thing he would say. So this is an interesting one.
Whoopi Goldberg
is apparently in negotiation. Oscar winner Whoopi Goldberg is in negotiation to play Mother Abigail.
She's great. I've always liked Whoopi Goldberg as an actress.
Yeah.
I always think back to my childhood freaking Sister Act, man. I loved that show as a kid.
And see, me, it was Star Trek with Guinan.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was the big one for me. But yeah, no, so that's an interesting one. Obviously a pretty big name. We got a lot of up and comers here. So this is another interesting one.
Oh, Glenn
Bateman.
Hey, Greg Kinnear.
I don't know what they're going to do to age him up, but
do they have? I mean, he's supposed to be older, yes. But
yeah, retired professor, Baldy is pretty much his nickname there. So I don't know what they're going to do with that, but Oscar winner Greg Kinnear is in negotiation to play Glenn Bateman. So what do you know him from?
I honestly can't think of a single thing that he's in.
Okay.
I know the name. He's that actor that you can never name a movie that he's in for me.
Yeah.
So for me, I always forget what Greg is in.
Yeah. Okay, so next up, Frances Goldsmith.
Aw, Franny, your favorite.
And this is rising star Odessa Young that was in Assassination Nation, which I believe was a Sundance thing. She's kind of kind of like a rising star in a lot of ways.
She's young.
Yeah, but I think that a lot of what she's done recently has been like they're going to do with Sam in the Dark Tower series. I think what she's done generally is like made them more. They try to make her look younger because I think she's portrayed like a teenager.
Yeah, because that picture on the left definitely is young.
But even the one on the right, I'm not sure how old she is, but I'm guessing it's one of those where she's probably like 18 to 22, but looks younger, and they've done everything they can to make her look younger so that she can portray like a high school kid or something. So
she's 21 years old.
Yeah, so
she was born in 98. Jesus Christ, 98 for 21-year-olds. What the hell, Tad?
Indeed. And then last up,
Nick. Dude, if they don't bring him back because he looks the same fucking thing as he did back then.
So Nick Andros is going. It says up and coming actor Henry Zaga. And in parentheses, it says The New Mutants, which is a movie that probably will never actually come out, is all but set to play Nick Andros. Not familiar with him, but yeah, it's that's what they're seeing here. So, what do you think?
That's cool. I don't know him, so I mean, I can't.
Yeah,
really
no,
say
but overall,
is that the last one?
Yeah, that's the last one.
Sweet. A lot of good casting ideas there. One glaring hole here, obviously, that's missing is who's going to play Flag.
Yeah, Flag's not in there.
That's a big one.
Tom Cullen's not in there.
The biggest one has got to be Flag. I mean, because the stand revolves around him.
I'd say like him.
So,
Lloyd is a really big one that I'd be curious about because he's a fairly big. On the other side, he's pretty much the star, right? Lloyd Henry.
Oh, Lloyd Henry. I was thinking of Larry.
Oh, and Larry's.
We don't have Larry yet.
Yeah, there's some notable holes, obviously.
But Flag is just like the biggest one. But for what we have here, I'm excited about James. I've never pictured him as a Texan.
Yeah.
So that's going to be interesting to see. Stu, I mean, the guy's from like New York, isn't he? And he still pulled off Texan pretty well. The guy that plays Stu.
Lieutenant Dan?
Lieutenant Dan.
I don't think he's from New York.
He's not from New York?
I think I've seen him in real, like in like off-camera stuff. I think he kind of has like that southern.
He's got that twang.
Yeah.
Oh.
So I don't know where he's from.
I always thought he was from New York for some reason.
No, not that. I mean, I don't know.
I actually kind of like the Whoopi Goldberg.
Yeah, that's the strangest one. Well, no, Greg Kinnear is the strangest one for me, just because like
there's so many really good old man actors.
And the dude is just not close to the age that I've ever pictured Glenn.
Yeah.
And I will say Glenn is pretty much the dude from the original for me. Like most of The Stand, like when I read it, I picture the original. And even now, like, you know, the last time I went through it, I couldn't get Matthew McConaughey in my head. It's still the dude from the original, Jamie Sheridan. Like I just can't. Like I've been reading it. I've never read it without thinking of that series in my head. So it's just hard to like.
Sure.
You know, and that'll be a little bit of a challenge for them as they go forward with this. But yeah, I think like Larry's a big one missing. Flag is probably the biggest one missing. Tom Cullen. Lloyd. What's Redneck? The other one that goes with them.
Ralph
Brentner. Yeah. Ralph is kind of somewhat big. That
also
isn't there.
Don't forget Trash Can Man.
Yeah, Trashy is
Trashy.
He's a big one. I'm trying to think of like fucking Harold.
Oh yeah,
that actually might be right below that under Flag. I'd put him above Lloyd.
Yeah, we need the three that we need castings for to really get a foothold on how we're going to handle this series and how it's going to be handled is Flag, Larry, and Harold.
Yeah,
because
now do you
Ralph?
Do you want to see Harold as a heavier actor? Because they kind of completely ignored that in the miniseries.
They did. I don't think that's necessary. I think the acne is the thing that really needs to be the thing, because that's one of those things like what you did with your tweet with Dark Tower. That's one of those things that if they do The Stand, I really want it to stick out as the not confrontation, but the first time Larry and Harold meet, where he gives them paydays and is like, oh, I don't eat too much chocolate anymore. And it's like, oh, this is awkward as fuck.
This is awkward. Okay, now the one I have to throw out there, it's not a huge role. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar needs to be the monster shouter. Bring him back.
The monsters are coming. The monsters are coming.
I know you. You're Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
My dad says you don't play defense.
No, I'm with you. There's some holes for sure, but that's... Man,
yeah.
this is a bombshell to drop on me yesterday. I mean, I knew it was kind of probably somewhat getting closer, but like certainly wasn't expecting basically a huge dump of like a bunch of characters. I was maybe picturing like, oh, here's Stu and Flag and Mother Abigail, and then later on we get more casting.
Yeah.
It's like, but this is like may not be the main ones, but this is a big
It's a
chunk
lot
all
of,
at once.
it's a lot.
And a good cast too.
Sure.
I think like overall, like I know James has been getting a lot of good, has a lot of hype around Westworld. So I think he's basically, it's not just like, oh, he's a guy that kind of played Cyclops back in the day or whatever. No, now people are like, oh, he's legit. I think he's got some decent roles out of that. Amber Heard is pretty, I loved her in Aquaman. I think she's kind of,
she was really good.
Whoopi Goldberg, like that's a big one. Oscar winner. Greg Kinnear also Oscar winner. Odessa Young, that's like
Odessa and this guy here,
those
Henry, are the two unknowns for me.
Yeah, but then they're both like ones that like have a lot of buzz with like projects that they've worked on.
The thing
so,
for
like,
me is that when I say unknowns, that doesn't necessarily mean a bad thing.
No.
I actually kind of like when it's an unknown.
Yeah,
because that means that I'm not just. Let's be perfectly honest. When Ben Affleck was cast as Batman, I went, "Oh God." But if now they're casting they cast Robert Pattinson. In case you guys didn't know, I'm a huge Batman fan, so I'm excited about that.
So,
but for me, with an unknown, it's a little bit more like, okay, I don't know which direction to look at this now because like we don't have an established actor who has something for me to go back on. So it's kind of like not watching the trailer before going into a movie. I can kind of go in a little bit more free, not knowing. Like it was the same with Tom with the Dark Tower. I didn't know him, so I'm like, great, let's see how he does with Jake.
Yeah.
And the thing that's really funny is that he was my favorite in the show, in the movie. So.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see. Agamorphy says that can you get Cicely Tyson again or again as Mother Abigail? Now I'm not sure. Again, I'm not sure who that because that's not the original actress. The original actress is Ruby something, and she's passed away. Agamorphy also says McConaughey again as Flag. At this point, I'd say Placonin as Flag would be. Somebody tweeted that at me and it was funny because like somebody tweeted at me, oh God, it would make my make my year if Pat Conan played Flag. And at first I read it not realizing what they were responding to of mine, and I'm like, I'm about to make this person's year apparently because he said like, oh, if Pat Conan and Flag, and I'm like, it's Flag, and I was about to respond to him, and I looked like, what is he responding to? And it was this because I retweeted this, and I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm with you, yeah. Indeed. Agamorphy says Trash Can Man. Okay, here's one for you, and this is like kind of more like Dreamcast. It probably wouldn't be realistic. What about for Trashy, Woody Harrelson?
Jesus. All right.
Could you see him?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I think he would kill that fucking role, dude.
Oh yeah.
He would kill that role. And then let's see. Oh, Larry Mark says who's plays my favorite character, Larry Underwood. Nobody yet. And Agamorphy says Larry should be played by a musician to sing Baby Can You Dig Your Man. And just based off of that, one entered my mind, not that he's a musician, but Taron Egerton that just played Elton John brilliantly.
Yeah.
I mean, he's obviously kind of a big actor. He might win an Oscar here pretty soon, but like if they can sign him up for a 10-episode thing, I think he'd do a killer fucking Larry.
He would be a really good Larry.
And he's kind of one of those ones too that he could still look younger because I feel like Larry's young 20s.
Larry's 23, 22, 23?
Close to Eddie's age.
Yeah.
So so it's like one of those like however old he is, I don't know, but he could definitely play the right age, and he would have the musical talent to like to play to maybe record a song. And then Agamorphy says, "Yeah, Ruby D, that's the name. Yeah, was Mother Abigail." But yeah, no, that's the rest would definitely be more Dreamcasting, but that's what we have for now. So that's kind of interesting. And then we got odds and ends. First of all, this is an interesting one. King calling for a remake to one of his adaptations. Kind of a salty King, too.
One of his adaptations?
On Twitter here.
Because he made a bunch during the 90s, right?
No, just adaptations of his works.
Oh, of his works. Okay.
Yeah. So a little salty, a little bit more so than you expect from him.
Yeah.
He says, how about Netflix bring back Under the Dome, only starting from scratch and actually doing the book?
Oh, damn. Yeah, because I watched the first part of that series.
I couldn't get into it, man.
It did not go the direction that we thought it would, like the book and everything like that.
I don't even know if I got to the end of the first season.
I didn't.
I couldn't do it. It didn't do it for me. So I just found it interesting because this is very atypical King. A lot of people say, like, King's like giving his green light on or his thumbs up on a movie doesn't mean anything because he gives them to every movie, and which is generally true. He's generally way more positive about most of his adaptations.
Yeah.
So I found this really interesting. What do you think?
I'm down. I haven't read Under the Dome for the longest time, but yeah, I'm down.
Netflix or Hulu. I mean, Hulu's in the king game.
Hulu,
pretty heavily.
Shoot, throw it over to Amazon. I mean,
yeah. So that's
I'm
interesting.
down.
That's interesting. Then, of course, the last thing I wanted to mention for odds and ends, Doctor Sleep trailer.
Yeah.
I put the creature there on the bottom right for you. You also have room 237 or 217, depending on
Mrs. Macy.
And then, of course, and the thing I found interesting about this is the director said they recreated everything but the blood scene. The blood scene was used from the original film, but everything else in the movie in Doctor Sleep is going to be 100% created by the Doctor Sleep cast and crew.
Damn,
So,
that's not from the original Shining?
It is not.
Holy shit.
Yep. So young Danny there is not the actor from the original movie. That is an actor that is currently a young child.
Jesus.
I know. I didn't know if you had heard that. So I was like, I wonder if Peter, because there's a few things in there where I was like, holy shit, like that's like direct from the.
I thought it was The Shining, like footage pulled from The Shining.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, this may not make the film. They may just be doing this for, like
for the trailer.
Hey, Doctor Sleep is The Shining sequel, by the way. Here, come look at this.
Yeah, indeed.
But damn.
Yeah. What did you think of the trailer overall?
Freaking great. I'm excited for it.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. I loved the and I feel like they're probably going heavier into the Kubrick film in the trailer than the movie will probably actually be,
because
just to kind of introduce to people what's going on or whatever. But yeah, no, I'm excited for this, and the thing that killed me too, like absolutely fucking put me over the fucking moon, was the music at the end over the title card.
Freaking title, the freaking intro music for The Shining
from the original movie. Dude, it was like that. It gave me fucking chills.
I freaking jumped out of my chair. My wife's like, "What?" I'm like, "That's the music when they're driving up to the Overlook Hotel." And she's like, "Oh shit, it is." I was like, "Yeah, that's awesome that they called back to that."
Yeah, indeed. There's cool callbacks. But yeah, I think that it's interesting. And let me get you a prediction, or get a prediction from you. Do you think the hotel's still standing in the movie?
No.
Okay. Because the ultimate question is how are they going to keep that balance between Kubrick's movie and the book, right? So it's just a matter of like
the hotel doesn't burn down in the movie, does it?
No. So so
I forgot about that
because I picture like with I almost said Obi-Wan with Ewan McGregor here, looking through the door, for instance, like that's after that whole tilting scene. So I feel like that's all just like a vision and like whatever. So like I feel like just because we're seeing stuff from the Overlook doesn't mean that the Overlook still exists. I think that they might actually go book style and have it to where the Overlook is gone. But I don't know. I that's just pure speculation.
Agamorphy says he has to tell people this is a sequel to the book, not the movie. Is that true? Have they come out and said that?
I mean, I think the director said he really wants to be careful to make sure that like he's fair to both sides, because you can't ignore the movie. It's one of the greatest horror movies of all time.
Yeah.
So it's like you can't just
you can't just sweep it under the rug and make Doctor Sleep sequel.
Yeah.
And have Dick Halloran alive.
Yeah, and I don't know, and I don't know what they're going to do with like Dick, for instance, but I do think he is saying that it is an adaptation of the book, which means it's a sequel to the book. But I think they're going to do some things to try to make sure that it somewhat jives with like people that only know the Kubrick film.
Sure.
Even as much as callbacks, and not even just the callbacks like the Danny stuff. There's some like movie stuff, like film, like even just framings and stuff that are very Kubrick like.
The freaking bathtub scene right there, the long shot with something moving in the background like that, like the lady in the bathtub. That's a Kubrick thing.
But like even like the Danny thing here, we get a shot very similar to this in The Shining. There's a shot that you see a woman in a grocery store or a pharmacy, and it's shot very similar to this Danny thing, where it's like from behind, very like
wide.
I'm trying to think, what do you call when it's even on both sides? I'm blanking on the fucking word.
Very centered.
Symmetrical.
Yeah.
Symmetrical, which is generally not what you see in film. Things are generally asymmetrical. You usually see like rule of thirds stuff, but like Kubrick did things differently, obviously. And I saw some things in there, not just stuff that was trying to recreate Kubrick stuff, that felt like Kubrick's style. So I'm like, I think that they're actually going to do things to like tribute Kubrick.
Sure.
So I don't know. There's still a huge question. This is just a teaser, so I don't know. I do believe though it's probably going to be more of an adaptation of the actual book. So we'll see what happens though. I appreciate that they showed a lot of Abra as well as the Shining references. I agree totally, because that's ultimately the center of the movie, right? Or the book. I had left for a while. Glad you're still going. Yeah, indeed. I'm interested in seeing Doctor Sleep after the trailer. Ewan is a treasure. Indeed, he is. Now, there is one part of me, though, that when the wall said hello, I wanted him to go, hello there.
Hello there.
Oh.
Just because we're such Star Wars nerds.
Indeed. Now, that is it for the odds and ends. So that leaves us to our commitment to emails.
Mm-hmm.
I actually got 2 from Chris in Australia, as a matter of fact. And what?
You're not going to do the jingle?
Oh, yeah. Look at you. You're a good man.
I'll take one for the team. I know you guys want to hear it. Emails. It's the emails. Tad's going to read us what people wrote to us.
Oh, that's not getting deleted.
God damn it. Every friggin' time. Yeah, I love the fact that you live on the part at the end where you tell me that it's not getting deleted.
It's one of my favorite parts. So yeah, Chris from Australia actually sent us a couple, and they're actually kind of just follow-ups to things.
Cool.
So I thought I'd cover both. I can cover both of those. I didn't want to go too deep, obviously, because we're already a little bit past where we'd normally go for it, which I knew was going to happen with this episode. I was actually, even this morning as I was prepping everything, I'm like, man, this whole email commitment's coming to bite us in the ass.
I was honestly wondering if you'd put it at the beginning and then let the episode go.
I thought about doing the emails at the beginning too.
You should have.
But no, either way. Okay, so Chris from Australia says, Heil. Says, regarding the location of the image of Roland and someone on the cliff face, I always thought it was Jericho Hill. The Dark Tower Wiki agrees. And this is the picture we're talking about. Somebody actually emailed this to us in terms of questioning things like Roland's fingers and stuff. So there's another email. But we were kind of questioning what this context is. And apparently the Dark Tower Wiki has this listed as Jericho Hill.
Yeah.
So I don't know where that would be at then. Like in terms of in the books, right? Because this is a book illustration. That's like the same art that we've seen in the books. So when would they have done an illustration for Jericho Hill in the books?
When he talks about Jericho Hill, where he picks up the horn?
It just feels like one of those weird things that I don't know. I don't know. We don't. Do we see him pick up the horn? Or he just has it after he comes through the tower, right?
No, he talks about. I'm sorry. He talks about how he doesn't pick up.
Doesn't
the horn.
pick it up. Yeah.
Yeah, because he talks about Jamie DeCurry being killed, a lamb being killed. He talks about how Cuthbert gets killed by a shot in the arrow
and dies laughing.
And then he talks about how he hid in a dead body cart or something like that.
Yeah, but there's just part of me that feels like, you only get so many limited illustrations. It's just weird that like Jericho Hill ever would have got one of those, because it's not a massive part of the book. So it's interesting. I don't know, but either way, thank you for that, Chris.
Yeah.
And then he also, on his next email, he says, Heil, Tad and Peter. Heil. He says, regarding the connection between Dr. Sleep and Mr. Mercedes, I think you talked about this amazing poster before made by Tessie Girl. If you look at the bottom, and I'll pull it up here, and this is something you'd really have to zoom in on, but it's basically like King in the middle there, but it basically shows you all connections that King has to other King.
Damn.
Says if you look at the bottom left corner, and then he says see attached photo, you can see that she has picked up on this connection, which is around here, the band name.
Yes, I knew it.
So yeah, it took a little while to pay off to get to this email, but yeah, indeed, you are correct. That was in Mr. Mercedes and Dr. Sleep.
Fuck yes.
And that shows the connection there. So yeah. And then she said, let's see, you can see that she has picked up on this connection. So yeah, that is what I got for email. I know that's kind of cheap that we only have a couple small ones there, but with a longer episode, I figured it's
happens.
all right.
No, it happens. We always said that that's still 2 emails. We promised one, so we went above and beyond. So
indeed,
don't put yourself down, Ted. We kept our promise.
Indeed. But yeah, that's a lot, man. There's
a lot to digest,
much.
dude. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, I got a Dr. Sleep trailer that you already knew about, but then you got a stand stuff, and then all the Dark Tower news, man. Mr. Roker.
Yondu is in the Stephen King universe.
Yeah, indeed. And I think, man, it's Jonas. It has to be. It's
Got to be Jonas. It's got to be Jonas. It's too perfect.
Yeah, it is. It is really perfect. And everyone out there should just go watch Tombstone to see him in a Western setting.
Yeah.
I mean, he's 25 years younger than he is now, but I also
Sure.
I also looked up his age too, just to see, because like Jonas is an older guy, right? And I don't think that Roker looks that old, but he's 63. So
Damn, is he really?
Yeah.
Shit.
So they can age him up a little bit. I mean, that makes sense, because think about, he's about the same. Think about age-wise in Tombstone. He and Kurt Russell, I would peg him in the same general area for age range, right?
I'm forgetting, which character does he play in Tombstone? Is he the?
He's McMasters. He's the one that was a cowboy, and then after
is
they
he really?
after they attack the
Damn.
he's the one that after they attack the women, he betrays and goes to Earp's side.
And then they kill him.
He's the one they end up killing.
They show it more in the extended cut.
Yeah, in the deleted scene, it's the one where he basically meets back up with the Cowboys, and they ask him to join back up.
What they want, and then they drag him and kill him.
Yeah, they drag the body and drop
Yeah.
it off at the So that's Mr. Roker 25 years ago in Tombstone.
Shit.
So he's one of Wyatt Earp's writers, Vendetta writers.
Mhm.
So yeah, I would say that makes sense then that he's about 63 in that range, because I would say he and Kurt were
Tombstone
close
was
to the
93, 94?
Yeah, and I think
Somewhere around
93.
there?
93 is what comes to my mind. So yeah, but he doesn't look as old, so they might have to do a little bit to
Mhm.
rough him up a little bit to make him, because Jonas,
Yeah.
Now here's the thing, what about hair? Because he obviously
White
is
hair.
bald, but Roker is.
I'd be okay if they left him bald.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. The wiry white hair doesn't. Nah.
It's not as big a deal. Yeah, I mean,
Nah.
for me, it's a big, because like always picturing the character from Metal Gear Solid
Sure.
has that look.
Sure.
But dude, Roker's so good that like I don't fucking care I don't care what he looks like or what he's wearing. Like he's going to fucking kill that role. Like, and also watch The Walking Dead if you're into more of a commitment, to see him playing a little bit more of a, I don't know if you'd say villainous. He's certainly more unlikable.
He's definitely a scoundrel.
Yeah.
But that doesn't always necessarily
And probably
mean a
more,
villain.
and not like lovable scoundrel like Han Solo. I think
No.
he's more on the like the other end of the spectrum, like the likability line. He's on the other side of it.
There's lovable scoundrel and there's asshole scoundrel.
Yeah, he's definitely on the other side.
Just for everyone wondering, Tad's on that. He's on the asshole side.
Oh, Travis says he's 64. So yeah, maybe 64. Yeah, I looked him up. 63, 64.
His
yeah.
birthday was yesterday. Watch it be something like that.
Yeah. No, so either way, yeah, he's right in that ballpark though. So I didn't write it down. I just remember looking him up, going, God, is he even old enough to play Jonas? And I'm like, oh wow, yeah, he's in his 60s. All right.
Oh, T-Boo. I'm gonna call him that from now on. T-Boo.
Yeah. So
Thanks, Travis.
So yeah, that's what we got for this show, man. There's a lot. I feel like now we're probably going to get into a realm where we see a little bit of a lull as they get into post-production. I mean, hopefully that
Sure.
will give us time for our book club next episode.
I mean, don't say hopefully. I mean, shit. Keep giving me more. Hook it up to my veins. Jesus.
Yeah. Now here's the question we need to ask. Like, what's our threshold for canceling a book club or pushing a book club further back?
I think at this point we got to do trailer.
Okay, not Cuthbert.
Nah. Nah.
Because to me, that's like,
Well, don't get me wrong.
I mean,
it's a big thing.
Chances are we're not going to know who he is, though.
Sure.
With he being a younger actor
Sure.
like that, it's not going to be someone that everyone's familiar with.
It's
Like,
not. Yeah, it's not going to be someone well established or anything like that. I think it's going to be nice that talk about it on a round table, but I don't think it's going to need to push a book club for it.
yeah, I think this one was just like Roker just being such a star and one I
Sure.
love. Plus also just like, I don't know, like all these other castings that were listed on IMDb. I'm like, this might be worth doing. And then
Sure.
the Stan thing was just the cherry on top, where I was like, yesterday I'm like, we're already doing a round table.
We're already doing one.
Let's just do it a little longer and cover this Stan stuff too.
Yep.
Yeah, so all right, well then we'll plan next time. We'll be back to our book club, which I'm trying to remember where we're at now. See, it's getting so long since we've been
Going up the beach between doors 2 and door 3.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, yeah. I'm just trying to remember what portion of
I'm
it. Like,
pretty
is it
sure
Roland's announced he's sick again, but
I'm
it's
pretty
not.
sure
he's not
it's-
incapacitated yet.
No, I'm pretty sure that it's about to be the part where Eddie and Odetta go running up the beach.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that's where we're at. Is right before that.
Okay. So yeah, we'll be back.
We got the hard Detta stuff last time.
Yeah, indeed. So we'll be back next time for that with our book club that was regularly scheduled for now. So we'll go ahead and hit the outro. If you want to find us. You can find us on iTunes or Stitcher if you want to stream any podcast services. If you could subscribe, rate, and review us, we would definitely appreciate that. You can find the show notes at darktowerpalaver.com. darktowerpalaver.com. All of the stuff that we covered in this episode, all the pictures, all that kind of stuff, I will have in the show notes. All the links to the articles will be in the show notes. There's a lot of pictures. I took a lot of like screen grabs and stuff because like I was very suspicious when these things started coming out that they would get deleted, which in some cases they did.
Yeah.
So like I don't even have maybe don't have as many links this time. I will have some links, but I won't have as many as I usually do because there's a lot of just pictures I have that I've screen grabbed and stuff. So check that out at the show notes at darktowerpalaver.com. And if you want to engage with the show, Peter can tell you the number of ways to do that.
You can email us. It's darktowerpalaver@gmail.com. You can also find us on Facebook. It's facebook.com/darktowerpalaver. And then we have the Twitter. You saw Tad tweeting out this past time, getting conversation topics and everything like that, your guys' opinions about things. It's at darktowerpod. That's at darktowerpod. Our show stream live. It's youtube.com/darktowerpalaver. You can check out roundtables and book clubs live. Book clubs don't stay up. Roundtables do. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. Ring the bell to get notified when we're going to be streaming because all our shows are live. You can join us in the chat today, just like T-Boo, Agamorphy did, Jack.
Travis.
Jack.
Yeah, I'm trying to see.
That's T-Boo. Travis is T-Boo from now on.
Mark. Did you say Mark?
Mark?
I'm looking through the chat here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got.
Ring that bell so you can get notifications. I actually have that on my account, so as soon as you start it right before we go live, I get the notification. Oh,
yeah,
there you go.
Awesome. Well, cool, guys. Thank you guys for listening on the podcast side, and until next time, we'll say as we always do: long days and pleasant nights.
Long days and pleasant nights, folks.
And everyone in the chat, thank you guys for joining us. Definitely always make it fun, and hopefully you guys all had fun seeing Peter get some news dropped on him here. Yeah, it's always fun. You guys always add to it. Add to a lot of fun and make it awesome. I love live streams. I don't know how we got away without them for the longest time. I really don't. Yeah. So long days and pleasant nights, guys.
Yeah.
I'll see you guys in a couple weeks for a book club if you join us for those. So yeah.
See you guys.
Enjoy some Flag. Go read you some Stand if you want. I think I might be getting ready to.
Is it time?
Because I went way late last time. Usually, but this is the time of year I usually Jones for it, and I was jonesing for it like pretty much once June started, and I was just like, dude, it's only been like 6 months because I went so late last year. But I'm like, do I want to just get back on my schedule?
Normal schedule.
And read it now.
Especially with the casting rumors and everything.
Yeah, indeed. So you guys go enjoy you some Flag stuff, and I don't know. That's my takeaway. But Peter can tell you to,
And everyone in the United States of America, have a good 4th of July.
Yeah, indeed. Oh, and we're also going to look at some, for non-U.S. people, maybe we'll talk about figuring out a good time that we can go that would be more friendly to maybe some international folks to move one of our record times to where it might work better for you guys. But we will let you guys know on that. See you guys.
Bye, guys.